And we lost Nelson. Welcome to Blades of the Dark, everybody. A little minor technical issue. Once Nelson gets back, I'll probably have to rearrange all the cameras again because Skype is apparently terrible at things.
Oh, I am so sorry. I moved my mouse, and I think I clicked on the hangy uppy button thing.
It's cool.
That's so bad.
Okay. I'm getting like half of you, Lewis.
Half of me?
Yes.
I'm getting half of Nelson. For me, we're not on an overlay. We're like just shoved in a screen.
I'm getting all of everyone and a picture of Chris.
Yeah, I'm getting a picture of Chris.
Okay, well that is weird. You know what? I'm going to transition back to the other screen. We're going to try this again in a second. So for everybody who's... Actually, I can't do that because I can't fix it while I'm live. So if
we're live. We are live.
Yeah,
okay.
If we do have anybody watching, ignore technical difficulties. I'm going to try and switch to the other version of Skype, which will hopefully be less of a nightmare than the built-in Windows 10 version.
When did I become Ronin?
Okay.
Sometimes I'll like interact with like the chat while role playing. I actually ran a game and a full-on conversation with chat at the same time. It was silly.
Okay.
There was a guy in chat like, oh, tell him to kill
look,
it.
it's us.
Yeah.
So this looks a little more familiar.
Right. I gotta button up and hide my chest hairs. It's not good. Hold on. Everybody sees my chest hairs. I gotta go like this. Damn, I look Mexican. Fucking refined cholo gangster and shit.
The worst part is I completely understand.
Yeah.
I work at a Qdoba. And you're right.
Look, I'm Hispanic. I can make these jokes. Oh, man. I think my favorite joke was once, there's this dude who, I mean, he was really light-skinned, and there's these, like, a pair of really dark-skinned Hispanics online for a taco truck, and, like, they're talking, and they're talking crap, and they're, like, talking to each other about the light-skinned dude, like, what does he know about tacos, and blah, 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 right? And then they go to order tacos and like, you make them too spicy, right? No, I'd be going getting the runs. They're complaining about the tacos and everything. And then they go off to the side to wait for their order. And the real light skinned dude comes up, and he just goes full on hardcore Hispanic, right? And he's like, he wants the tacos picante. He's like, right? It's fucking hilarious. And then basically he is calm as hell throughout the entire line. These guys are talking crap about him. He's like, all right. Then when he orders, he's talking to the guy ordering. The guy's like, yo, what up? You know, they're obviously tight, like he goes there every day or whatever. And then he starts talking crap about those two. Because, you know, all the substitutions they made and everything. They can't handle spicy food. It's hilarious. I'm not doing it justice, I know. But it was hilarious. Suffice it to say, it was hilarious.
Alright, so everything is up and running. You guys should see the overlay like the audience can see. Perfect.
Yeah.
And the cleaned up version of this, I think I'll probably keep it because I'm too lazy to edit it out. With that said, we are back with Blades of the Dark. It's been a little while, and we spent a good portion of today just kind of catching each other up on where we left off. For anybody who's not been following my personal life, I had a baby recently, so you may see his head pop up eventually inside here in case I have to hold him, but basically that's kind of taken up most of my time last month, and we're back here to see if we can make some money and do some shady deals. So that's basically what's been going on with me. Let's kind of check in with everybody and see where everybody else is at since it's been a while. Nelson, what have you been up to?
I've I have the Saturday morning tabletop game that I made, and I usually put out monthly updates for spelling, maybe a new feat or a new rule to expand the game, and I haven't for the past month because I've been designing a major update and adding a lot of new things to the game. The biggest thing that I'm adding is a toolkit to create practically any beast or follower you want, and for it to be a little bit streamlined during gameplay so that you have less bookkeeping during a fight, as well as a lot of shifting feats, like the druid can turn into have a dragon form, a wolf form, fucking turtle. I've been working a lot on that, and that's been my primary focus for this past month.
Excellent. And Jeff, how about yourself? I've seen you had a couple different games going on.
Yeah, I've been playing in some games, been running some games. The most recent one that I ran was just this week. I ran a playtest for the Subari setting that Point of Inspiration's been working on and putting stuff out for, and that was a lot of fun. I also have some projects of my own that I'm working on, some setting stuff that I'm hoping to have enough ready to kind of get that announced soon. I don't have anything official out yet, but have some work under the hood there. So I'm looking forward to getting that ready here, hopefully within the next month or so.
You played another game. I'm trying to remember what it's called. I think it's Reflections. It's the dueling one.
I did not play. I have not played that yet. No.
Oh, I thought
it's on my list. That was Jeremy Lilly. Was the one that did that.
Okay.
Him and Eli Kurtz.
I've got a Single Moment, which was the game that kind of spawned that other game, but I haven't gotten around to that one. So I was curious if you had the chance to see it, but I guess I am thinking of the wrong player.
Yeah, that is one of the systems on my list to check out, though. It is very interesting to me to have like a single 1v1 RPG system like that. Like, I love the idea, and I'd love to kind of get into it a little bit, but I have not yet.
I've played a Single Moment before, offline, and it's interesting. Hyper RPG actually has a video where they did one of them with a Single Moment, and they did a really neat story with it. A lot of it is more about the intrinsic relationship between the two players at the table that are involved in the duel, and it goes really deep into establishing ties and their personalities without necessarily establishing things up front, because most of the game is about exploring your background in play. So it's pretty interesting. I liked it a lot, actually. And Lewis, what have you been up to?
I've been working out and losing weight mostly. I haven't been as active in the community as I have been in the past. I am working on a few projects currently on the down low. One of them under the working title Edge of the Wood at the moment. It's bound to change. But I've been running a home game a week roughly of Scum and Villainy. Scum and Villainy version 1.6, I think it is, came out between this game and the last time we met up, and the Strauss changed things to be more in line with the final release of Blades in the Dark. And one of the player characters is currently lost, which maybe we might see one of our characters get lost eventually. And so a new crew member that is both a person and a robot. He's a scoundrel, and he's playing both of them as one character sheet. Benny and Bad Blood, the bartending automaton, are now part of the crew.
Yeah, the the expansion that I'm waiting for, the playset that I'm waiting for, really is Sparrow's Folly. I think that's going to be the one that I'm most excited about. It's like dark western kind of feel to it. All right, so let's kind of talk about what happened leading up to today's events. So Ruby, who you've gotten her real name, has sent you out to go find out more information about these cultists that you found before. She's been kind of straightforward with you guys. You know she's part of the Templeton family, that is an imperial family that is known for their Leviathan blood shipments and their Leviathan hunter ships that they build. She has told you that she's working on something that's called the Leviathan Song, a device that can be used to lure Leviathans to a ship, to hopefully make capturing them much easier. This, of course, sparked Piper's interest, and from there, you guys have decided to take on jobs doing reconnaissance for Ms. Templeton and see if you can find out more information. But she did offer you a little bit extra if you were to take on some dirty work, which kind of got you in the situation you're in now. You guys found your way into a nice party, and in it was one of the cultists. How about Nelson, you fill us in from here?
Well, I mean, there's not much to really fill in. We went to the party. We had her fancy dress. We got her in a room, kind of alone. Drugged her to do a little paralysis, and Slate has the unfortunate affliction of being vicious, and he decided to, I don't know, draw out the murder scene a little too long. And this poor, helpless woman decided to unleash the full breadth and scope of her whisper power. And it kind of turned into a Sith battle, like lightning abound.
That's probably the best way to describe it.
Suffice to say that she's dead, and I'm deep-fried right now.
And because this is Duskfall, it didn't end when she died.
No, not entirely. You were able to find out that her spirit was pulled away. You haven't had a chance to really figure out why or how or where that spirit went. But the biggest problem is kind of right now not only the fact that you are bleeding out in a room with a dead body, but on the other side of the door we have Ronan, who's speaking of fine whiskey with some gentlemen, and his situation may not be going as well either. Ronan,
Ronan has had...
Go ahead.
Yeah, at this point, Ronan has had a little bit too much to drink. He is using his disguise as someone from the Imperial City, and his fine whiskey also hailing from that area as additional cover. And that went really well as far as distracting people from the battle that was ensuing inside the other room. It went a little too well, and Ronan has had a little bit too much to drink, and people are starting to become unhappy with his popularity, particularly some of the men, and his popularity with some of the ladies, given his imperial status that he is pretending to have.
Yes, my players are correcting me. I forgot that Nelson did decide to strike the body and purify the spirit, so her spirit has been vaporized along with her body, because that was the best way to dispose of it. Okay, and Simon Faraday, aka Piper, what trouble have you wrapped yourself into?
So Piper has been posing as a reclusive noblewoman and tried to help Ronan distract people, And when he kind of seemed to be handling himself, she went off in search of someone named Talker. Elena Talker Slane, who is a student at the university, a member of the cult, and who Piper is a bit obsessed with at the moment.
And she also invented a more efficient, small-scale version of a lightning barrier that could actually be completely self-reliant, and you found out during the party that the prototype could run for about 20 years and lightning barrier a small estate, which is quite impressive, without really needing as much Leviathan blood as the traditional lightning barrier uses. All right, so let's kind of jump right in with Ronan.
I'm pretty sure we still need to do XP from last time, right? Because it was late and we decided we would do it next week.
Yeah, let's actually do that first. So you guys have been marking your desperate rolls as you go along, so we're going to jump past that. Let's start with Simon real quick here. Did you address a challenge with technical skill or mayhem?
Poison.
That is true, technical skill. It's up to you guys as always, but I would think that that being part of your rule set and what your character does is probably one experience. What do you guys think?
Seems fair.
Works for me.
Okay. Express your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background. I would say yes on this one.
Sorry, Slate.
Yeah, you're
Business lady.
You're kind of walking away to get more involved in some of the weird side of things inside Duskwall.
Good luck.
Harper's like, I got you. Oh, who's here?
Struggled with issues from your vice or trauma from the session.
Is the second one 1 or 2?
Yeah, beliefs, drives, heritage, or background. What do we want to say, 1 or 2?
I think that's a 2, because that's like right now to the current situation, the detriment of everyone else.
Yeah, it's pretty big that Simon has walked away from you guys, and you're all pretty much separate from each other at the moment because of that choice. So 2 then. And the last one is struggled with issues from vice or traumas during the session. I don't think you have any traumas at the moment. You do not yet. You're close.
Not yet. I botched a resist roll though. I went from 2 stress to I went from 3 stress to 8 stress.
Yep.
In one roll. And my vice is weird, an obsession with the occult.
I think you're exploring more into kind of being the technical side of things, because what Talker is doing is more of like sparkcraft than necessarily occult. So I don't know that you necessarily got that one unless somebody could think of something that stands out as a good example.
Yeah, nothing really pops up for that one.
Okay.
Not for occult.
And I just got a playbook advance.
Perfect. Look that over, and then if you know what you're going to
Stranger Methods.
Perfect. What does that one do?
Strange Methods is a whisper move that I'm taking via veteran, and it allows me to craft things with the arcane tag, and it immediately gives me access to a blueprint of something of the arcane nature. I can make magic doodads now.
Okay. Since this happened in story, I do have a way for you to get something of arcane nature. That will probably be your contact. I can't remember his name. The fish eyes looking guy.
Ojak.
I don't think it would be necessarily logical for it to show up
Yeah.
right now in the middle of the mission, essentially.
Clearly. Yeah. That makes sense.
Okay, let's go with Milton Ramsey. Or Slate, as we know him now. So for Slate, Addressed a challenge with knowledge or arcane power. I would say 2, because you went completely over the edge and threw lightning bolts back at a paralyzed woman who was throwing them at you. Expressed your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background. Let's take a look here.
Not that I can think of, really.
No, I don't necessarily think so. Though I do think on the next one about the traumas and vices, I think the vicious came up, and we dealt with a little bit of Nyrix's issues as well. So I'm thinking that's probably 2.
Gotta be.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was easy.
Okay. And next up is Ronan. Let's take a look here. So, addressed a challenge with calculation or conspiracy. I would say that the whole plan that you guys are going into right now really kind of addresses some of those strengths that you have. You guys are playing to the plan. So, I would think that that's probably 1 or 2, depending on what the group says.
I think 2, because his conspiracies are getting him into his assumed identity isn't going well.
I would say 2, because he kind of facilitated this whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Beliefs, drives, and heritage. So there was a point in the last one where we talked about him being at the college trying to get a book published, and he was finding information for the group, kind of risking his publishing career to do some personal stuff on the side. I saw that as something that's telling of his beliefs as a character. I don't know if you guys thought the same thing. I do remember that one standing out because I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, I now that you mentioned it, I remember it, but I didn't remember it offhand.
I did not remember it offhand either, so I'm glad you did.
Yeah, I remember because I told you that the risk was you may end up causing issues with your publisher because you were digging through some of his books and things like that inside the office.
Yeah.
That you might draw attention to yourself, kind of thing.
He also
Digging through weird books too about like the cult and stuff like that. Not even just like.
He also pulled in like favors, like, yeah, I'm a merchant's son, I'm notable here, and kind of brought that up into being part of this mission that we're on to kind of get us in.
So I'd say there's probably 2 on that one, and then vice or traumas. I don't really think
I have
you don't
no
any
traumas, so yeah.
I don't think your vice became an issue during this one, because we addressed it before the adventure started. It's not like you're stopping to talk to a publisher at this party right now.
Yeah. Yeah, although that does still put me up at a playbook advancement.
Perfect. Do you have an idea of which one you want to do?
So just real quick, is it just one special ability? I can't remember what the options were.
You can
It's
do
been a
one
little bit.
special ability. Anytime you get experience from the end of session experience, it can go into your playbook, or you can put it into a stat if you want. So like you could have put it in insight or prowess, resolve, but because you filled up your playbook, it's going to be one of those abilities.
Okay. Yeah, the one that I've been kind of eyeing for a while. There's 2. Mastermind was one. Gives me a special armor which I can use to protect a teammate or push myself when I gather information on a long-term project.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also kind of, I don't know if it would make sense like within the story, but Ghost Contract is really interesting to me too.
So we're pretty early in the story. If you wanted to have Ghost Contract make sense, we could definitely explore that more as things go along. Because the way that I look at Ghost Contract is it's something that happens within the city, that people know they exist, but the art of conducting Ghost Contracts is kind of esoteric. It's not something that everybody knows. And maybe if you're okay with it, maybe you've entered into a ghost contract in the past. I won't make you still adhere to the ghost contract, but maybe that's how you know about them and how they're conducted. But I may have an NPC come forward in the future that is like, hey, Ronan, remember we worked together in the past, we did the ghost contract, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I kind of like that actually. I think I'll go with that.
Okay.
We all have occult powers now.
Perfect. So, by the way, when we talked about this game originally, I said I kind of didn't want to do a cult gang. You guys do have the ability to change your gang at any point during the game if you feel like you've changed. I didn't want to start as a cult, because starting as a cult gets kind of like full speed at the wall kind of feeling. I'm okay with you guys changing into a cult if you want to. What sometimes happens with people who start as cults is they tend to sacrifice everything and burn the candle at both ends. So it goes pretty bad.
Candle metaphors.
Yep. Let's take a look at the crew here, because the crew's got some stuff we got to answer questions to. All right, just as a reminder, everybody has everyone steals. That was the one you picked at the beginning. So
very good.
Execute successful espionage, sabotage, or theft operation. I'm going to say no for now.
Not yet.
I'm trying to think if you guys did anything pre-mission that could fall under that category. So the only thing I can think of is when Ronan went to his publisher and started snooping around at books he really shouldn't have. That's up to you guys if you want to count that or not. That'll kind of set the stage for what we consider espionage, really.
Well, being that he was, like you said, risking his publishing career, I think it maybe not for a 2, but it makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd agree with that. So that could go into crew advance. I'll go ahead and tick that real quick here. Contend with challenges above your current station. Yes.
I know I did.
Yes, you did. I'm going to go ahead and fill in the blank on that one. That is a 2 point, because you guys are facing 2 of the cultists inside here at once, and each cultist is quite difficult on their own. While you may be able to avoid conflict with the second cultist, she is still there and still may be a problem. Bolster your crew's reputation or develop a new one. Let's see.
Pretty ambitious.
Your crew rep is ambitious. I would say that you have bolstered it because you followed through. So I'd say at least 1.
We were given a bonus thing to do, and we immediately jumped
Salta gave us
it.
a basic opportunity and then an extra bonus goal that was pretty wild, and we just sure, we'll do that.
Yeah, and I like the way it was set up too, because Celtha did it kind of in a way to basically test you guys to see what you were willing to do to accomplish it. She wasn't really expecting you guys to complete it, so it's pretty telling of the group. I would say that for your reputation, that's 1, but I think it's also 1 in the next one, which is express goals, drives, inner conflict, essential nature of the crew. So I
think we could mark a point for inner conflict too. Yeah.
Okay.
Considering we are in 3 separate places, literally we have people all following their own agendas while one of them is dying.
No,
the realization
I followed the mission.
Yeah. The realization dawns on Slate that perhaps his compatriots aren't exactly reliable people.
All right, so we'll say 2 for that one. You guys are 2 away from a playbook advance now. Or sorry, a crew advance rather. Because there are options with crew advances. So let's kind of jump right into the action. And get started here. Slate, you have or sorry, not Slate, Ronan, you have kind of a jealous individual inside your group talking to you about whiskey. He thinks that you have been flirting with his girlfriend all night. And he lined back to slug you, so let's go ahead and address that first. So he pulls back, and he just does like this full haymaker at you, swinging kind of over the girlfriend's head, but you can see that she gets clipped by the elbow across the back of the head as his fist comes in. It's not nearly as hard as you expected, but if you don't want to take it, it is level 1 harm. So you could roll resistance for it. Resistance will be simply sidestepping out of it.
That, yeah, I think I will attempt to do so, yeah.
Excellent. The most logical thing would be prowess, just to kind of step out of the way. But if you can think of something else, I'll accept that.
Would finesse make sense here? Just kind of reading the social situation, seeing it coming, kind of just deftly trying to slide away.
Resistance rolls with a trait.
It's by the groups. So,
it's just group.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's either insight, prowess,
then.
or resolve. I think prowess makes the most sense.
Yes. No bonus dice, I'm guessing?
No, not on this.
Alright, that is a 4 and a 2. So.
Excellent. So with a 4, that means... wait, hold on. Let's address this real quick, because I want to catch this, because you may not be aware of your stress situation. If you decide to go ahead and resist, the 4 will be deducted from the 6, meaning you get 2 extra stress, which will fill up your bar and your trauma out. So
won't I be
level 1?
Not yet.
Because I already put the 2 here, so I have 1 bar left.
Okay. I thought you had 1 left to begin with. Okay, that makes sense.
He's in the position we all are now.
All right, so now we're all in dangerous business category.
Yes.
None more than our poor friend who's bleeding out in the closet. All right, so Ronan, he's taking a swing at you, and his girlfriend's been clipped on the back of the head with his kind of wide swing because he's been drinking way too much. She screams and starts hitting him with her clutch. The other guys in the group start kind of fighting, and you can see that your bottle of whiskey that you brought with you is tipped over the table. You got a couple options available to you at the moment. What would you like to do?
So seeing the bottle go down and the kind of chaos ensue, Ronan will just kind of put his hands up like, "Oh, I had nothing to do with this. Just, oh, hey, man. I didn't mean to cause any trouble. If I've been in your way, then I will gladly leave you to your business." And he's gonna try to kind of slink away and hope the chaos of the group kind of meeting up with this guy become a little bit of escape room.
Yeah, I think he's at that point where there's no risk involved in this. You're gonna be able to slink away, because you're like hands up, like, "Hey, man, I'm just gonna go." You hear a lot of shouting from that side of the room, like, "Yeah, he better get out of here. I was gonna duel him," and all this stuff. And his friends are like, "Yeah, you would have had him." Like, it's complete bolstering from that side of the room. But the whole ballroom kind of starts to shift. There's the fight in the front, this loud lightning and stuff, and you can hear people are wanting to like get to the windows to see what's going on with the weather outside. Let's jump over to our friend in the side room where the drinks were. So Slate, you have quite a few wounds now. You're now in the situation where you need help to be able to continue doing things. Unless you take stress, which will end in trauma, to try and get out of here. There is some options. The balcony is open, and you haven't heard the bell of the tower go off just yet, but you know it's coming.
Is the balcony, is it over like a street, a bridge, a river? a soft, feathery pile of pillows inside of a cart.
So you kind of like hold your burns across your body because you were thunderstruck, and you hobble your way over to the balcony and peek your head over. It is a cobblestone road, but you can see some crates that are empty and been set out to be garbage kind of over to the side, and there's some trash and stuff piled up. If there's anywhere that's softer than cobblestone, it's probably that, but it's still not going to be a great fall.
Yeah.
Looking around the room, there are some creative ways that you can come down.
Well, you said I actually need help, though, right? Like, I can't be doing a whole bunch of different things.
Basically, if you don't need a roll, you're okay, but as soon as you start to need rolls, you're going to need help.
Oh, okay.
Like, if you jump off into that pile, there will be a roll. I'll tell you that right now.
Let's see, that's one, that's two. I still got... what's happening? What's that sound? Are we all still here?
Yeah.
I'm still here.
Oh, I'm getting weird interference. All right. So in this room, there's basically just water, liquor.
Yeah, it's actually a really nice room. There's a fainting couch and a full couch. That's where you guys had your kind of social interaction before. There's some tables with finger foods and drinks here. It's mostly drinks though. But the one thing that you immediately catch on is there's these fine drapes that cover the balcony when it's closed that could close off the room from prying eyes. But the drapes themselves are about 12 feet each. If you were to tie them together and then tie them to the railing, you could actually kind of lower yourself down safely without needing a roll involved.
I think, yeah, I'll do that. I'll probably grab some of the, like a bottle of water or pour a glass of water and just splash myself to help cool down the smoking flesh that is me, before doing such, and proceed with grabbing these drapes and hooking them up to the balcony and descending.
Excellent. And as you make it over the railing and you've tied it off, you can hear somebody starting to mess with the knob to the door because Ronan has walked away. Someone's gotten the opportunity to get to that door finally. And you make it over the balcony, hit the ground, and you can hear somebody finally break through the doorway. And you can hear shouting about how it smells like the room's been on fire. There's scorch marks all over the walls. People are freaking out about it. Which at that time the camera kind of shifts over to Piper, who's kind of weaving through the crowd, pushing people away, trying to catch up to where she believes Talker has disappeared to. Talker, as I mentioned before, was a younger woman. She's about in her late teens, from the looks of her. Blonde, short hair that's been tied up into kind of a very high ponytail, and it's got several pins inside her hair just to kind of keep it all straight. When you approach Talker, she's wearing kind of an older style of dress, but the sleeves have been hemmed in tighter so that she can get more maneuverability out of the top. Her dress is also not as billowed out as some of the other people inside the court, so that she has more maneuverability in it. If you were to get the idea of a lady inventor in kind of a steampunk setting, that's kind of what she looks like.
Am I within talking distance of her?
Yeah, you could approach her. You're coming up right behind her, basically.
And Piper's gonna walk up behind her. That's an interesting design. Preparing for a getaway.
She smiles at first because she happens to have this thing in her hand that you haven't seen yet. It's some sort of invention. It kind of looks like a rod, but there's some different dials on it and things like that. And once she realizes that you are talking about something besides what she has in her hands, she kind of quickly darts her eyes at you like, you need to be careful what you say here.
I apologize if I offended. My name is Alice Tannenbaum. And she's going to hold out her hand.
She takes it, but she shakes it like a not a lady, but like a man of the city would. It's
I'm gonna match it.
Full palm to palm.
I'm gonna match it.
And she says, "Nice to meet you. I'm well, most people call me Talker."
Likewise, and what brings such a studious inventor as yourself to a stuffy room like this? So full of people wasting their time.
She begins to talk to you about the college and things like that. What I'd like you to do, and this is kind of a weird way to preposition this, is make a consort roll with her. She's attempting thieves' cant with you, and I need you to be able to basically understand where she's going in the conversation. If not, it sounds a lot of like she's trying to get patrons, looking for people to apply to the school, things like that. Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense to people who are listening.
I'm not good at consort yet. Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
The key there is yet. I'm 2 XP away from it. Position?
I mean, you can try something else if you have something else in mind. Consort is the thing that makes the most sense.
I mean, if sway doesn't make sense, then I'm not going to force it to be sway.
You could do sway, but it would be more like getting her to speak openly to you.
No, I kind of want to follow her.
Okay.
I'll do consort.
Okay, your position is controlled, and yeah, controlled, and let's say standard.
Okay. Any devil's bargains? Yeah.
Yes. You may accidentally agree to something that you don't really understand.
Oh, I am so into that.
Okay.
God, is there other ways to get bonus dice? I don't think there are. Let's go.
Right now, not really. I mean, you could technically be aided by somebody, but there's nobody who's close enough to be able to do that, unless Ronan wants to use one of his foresight dice. Because I believe he has one left.
Do I? I thought I used both of them last time.
Okay. Well,
I feel like
let's
you
say
only
have
used
both.
one.
Either way, I kind
I
of.
wouldn't expect you to use it on this.
I'm gonna say
This is
I
pretty
think given the
outside
fact
your
that
plan.
like Ronan had no idea that Piper was even going to try to slip away and talk to this person, so I can't imagine, even if I do have a dice left, that he would have used it even if he could.
Whereas
Okay.
Piper tried to cajole us into doing this specifically for this reason.
Okay.
Let's go.
But
Yes!
not
Perfect. All right. So, with a 6, you understand exactly where she's going. She
And I agree to something.
has kind of spun a tale about how she's looking for donations to build a new science wing at the university, that Sparkcraft is being advanced by blah, 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 stuff that really doesn't matter. What you are able to gather out of the conversation is kind of this subcontext. Like, I imagine it like if it was a movie, you two are having a conversation about funding the college, and then there's subtitles with what you're really saying to each other. So we're just going to talk about what you're really saying to each other. She says, who are you? What are you doing here?
Oh, how do I want to take this? I'm a fan of your work, and I'm interested in getting to know you better.
She she kind of perks up about that, and she smiles, and she carries the conversation into kind of a lighter category. And what that basically translates to is witch work. I'm a very busy person, as you can imagine.
The lightning barrier gets a lot of recognition, but it's the things you do behind the scenes that I find far more interesting.
Are you looking for a job?
That depends on what you're offering.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to give away all of my secrets right away. You do me a favor, and this is where it gets kind of lost in translation. Like, even the subtext, it's like, telephone, garbage can, blank, and you're just like, uh-huh. And she goes, all right, and when that's done, I need you to meet me at the university with the body. And that's the part that you actually make out. After a little bit of coercing back and forth, you're able to kind of wrap back around that she wants a gentleman by the name of Agni, who is a Sparkrite, an underground Sparkrite dealer. He operates in a lot of components and things like that. You're fairly certain that because it's hard to figure out exactly what she's getting at. You can't determine if she wants him dead or delivered unconscious. And if you were to, every time you go to try and like readdress it in the conversation, it's again kind of just stuff that you don't really understand. The only way to get a better answer would be to straight ask her, and this is not the environment to do that in.
God, can I say something that's like really obvious code?
Sure. What do you have in mind? What are you basically trying to convey?
Do you prefer your springs hot or cold forged?
You know what? I'm going to say that this is part of the devil's bargain, that she doesn't know what you're talking about. She turns around and she goes, actually, I prefer mine freshly coiled. Wound over the Duskfall fashion. And you can take that any way that you want.
All right. And where can I find you if we ever get the opportunity to speak again? I would love to continue our conversations.
She'll give you a laboratory on at Duskfall Academy. That's where she does most of her work. She's actually been given, due to her accomplishments, she's been given a laboratory that she can function out of, and she has staff there.
This party's being hosted by Orlin Hellis, right?
Correct.
Now, I'm taking up much of your time, but I must ask, have you seen the host at all? It seems very strange that Mr. Hellis would be absent at his own party.
Mr. Hellis puts together these parties more for his wife. She, bless her heart, wants to be more social, but Mr. Hellis is more of a private man. He makes his appearance at the beginning, and then he's usually gone for the rest of the night.
I do hope he's in good health and good company.
He seemed well when I saw him, but if you want, you can speak to his wife, Lydia. She kind of like leans back and starts kind of looking through the crowd. She's over there in the blue dress. And as you look across the room, there's this woman that is in her like mid to late 30s. She's wearing this blue, very over the top, very high fashion dress. She's almost too fancy for her own party.
She seems overwhelmingly boring compared to you.
Lydia is different. She's very well spoken and she is very social, cares much about fashion, but if you're interested in conversations of Sparkrite craft or anything else for that matter, you may best find another audience.
Before I go, could I ask, what was that device in your hands? It seemed unique.
She smiles and she says, I built this as a device for Outlanders to safely travel. It gives them a way to compete with some of the more vicious ghosts. And she presses a button and a couple dials, and you can see that there's these two prods on the end, and these sparks go off of the tips of it. As it makes the connection between the two sparks, this bubble of electricity surrounds her for a moment, and she kind of has to speak loudly over it. She goes, anything that touches this field, and she kind of sticks her finger in there, and she zaps herself really good. Well, the ghost won't go through. Think of it like a personal shield, but it can also be used for offensive capabilities. And she whirls it around her wrist, and you can see the whole thing, like the shield compress back down onto the...
We're still in the party, right?
It's like, yeah, she is. She's been displaying it through the party. There's people that are clearly standing away from her. She whirls it around like a collie stick, and as she does, you can see the sparks, instead of shielding, they condense down onto the stick as it moves, and she takes a couple practice swings like you would with a stick. But as soon as she stops moving it, a few seconds later, the bubble comes back out.
Piper is standing altogether too close to her. Just completely enraptured.
She goes, the only problem is, and it cuts out as she says that, the batteries don't last that long. Well, it is a prototype anyways. And the transition from active weapon to defense is something to be desired. She starts kind of messing with dials, and she's actually got something really interesting that normally no woman at this kind of party would carry with them. She's got like the tight ribbon belt that you'd expect from the type of dress she has, but she has tools pocketed on the inside of it, and she's fetching like screwdrivers and things like that. As you are in the craft, you will see that she also has like thieves' tools in there, not just like tinkering tools.
It's good to find a kindred spirit among such strange company.
Of course. If you'll excuse me, hopefully I can find more people to donate. The school is in much need of some updating.
If you ever need any help, just ask for Simon at... God, what's the name of the bar that we... Is it the Veil?
The Veil. Mm-hmm.
Ask for Simon at the Veil. He can do some favors if the coin is right, especially if you're asking. Stay safe out there. Keep good company.
Of course.
Yes, I did just compromise us.
Yep. Let's add a clock. I'm going to call it Simon Who. And I'm going to give you one wedge because you compromised yourself there. It's an 8-segment clock. And
Fine.
that will be to discover that Simon may actually be a young lady from the general populace, and eventually lead us to more clocks to discover who exactly Simon is, just beyond the name Piper. All right, so with that sorted out, I think the rest of the party goes fairly uneventful unless you guys want to do anything else while you're here. I know that Slate has made his escape out and is at the point where he is too injured to try and venture back inside.
What was our goal outside of killing Narya? Weren't we here to gather some kind of information?
Yes, you were. She wasn't very specific with you about what kind of information. She said she'd pay for any information about them. You technically have done it. You've gotten information from Piper. She's looking for that Sparkcraft guy. Or sorry, not from Piper, from Talker.
I'm gonna see if I can find Ronan personally.
Yeah, and Ronan would have wandered back towards the drink room where everything had happened, only to find it profoundly empty of his companion and their target.
Yeah, it looks like seriously a lightning storm happened inside this room. There's like just big furrows in the wall of black charred, like wallpaper has been peeled back. There's a chandelier that's been broken all over the floor. But the part that makes you smile out of the whole mess is you can see that there's a group of people holding the drapes that have been tied to the balcony, trying to figure out what the hell's going on in here.
Yeah, and at the site, Ronan would not necessarily know whether to grin or frown, not yet necessarily knowing who climbed down the balcony, given all the noise that he heard. But at that site would try to find Piper and probably get out before too much more went down.
I think at this point, that's when the bells finally ring out from the tower. It takes a little while, but anytime somebody dies within the city, there's a tower within the center of Dustfall that rings out. Standing on the balcony, you can see that there are crows inbound that are these black crows.
So here's a question. They find corpses, right?
They do look for corpses. They
Okay.
get drawn to the site of the death, and they will circle a corpse if they find it. But the crows will not find one in this case. So the crows will circle the building, but they don't really know what's up. They're not going to get... The spirit wardens are not going to get much from this because the body and the spirit were processed instantly.
Processed. I'm going to meet up with Rodan if I can.
Yeah, the party is actually kind of falling apart at this point. There's too many people that are questioning what happened in the other room. There are Deathseeker crows that are flying above the house. Lydia is just kind of ushering guests out before rumors start about her having murders in her house. She's trying to play damage control as best as possible in this situation right now. As you walk over to where Ronan is inside the back room, Lydia's kind of in the way, and she kind of swings her big dress to put herself in between you and the room, and she says, "My dear, there's nothing inside there. Just a little bit of... unfortunately, lightning struck the house. There was a fire. It's very unsafe to be in there. If anybody is in there for you, I can have them come pulled forward for you, but it's just not safe."
Yes, the man I came with, a bit bookish.
She kind of...
Imperial garb.
She kind of ponders, and she goes, "Oh." And she kind of leans in, and she goes, his markings. I don't mean to impose on you, my dear. And she kind of pats your hand very gingerly, like, you know, she's a rumor monger. Um, she goes, it seems he may have been part of the Imperial Guard, a captain. Is that correct?
He is a secretive man. He has seen many things in his time, and he doesn't like to talk about them.
Oh, no. I wouldn't dream of asking him to reveal any Imperial secrets or anything. It's good to know that Imperial officers do come to visit Dustfall. If you and your gentleman friend, she's not sure what to call him, would like to join us for dinner, I know my husband would be very interested to meet this captain. He's the man that put together this party, Orland Hellas. He's a businessman from White Crown, but he dabbles a little bit in Imperial trade. Perhaps hearing some news from the capital would make him quite happy. He's had such bad news with his business lately.
You would have to speak to him. He is more the organizer of social events. I don't get out much. Could you bring him over? I'm sure he would be more talkative than I.
Of course.
It's
She pats your hand very excitedly.
Complete fake, like, nervousness.
She pats your hand very excitedly, and she goes, "Oh dear, we're gonna have to fix that. You will just love my friends. The dinner party is just the beginning." And she turns back and she says, "Captain, please, a moment of your time."
I'd like to spit at her feet when she turns away from me.
Absolutely. She won't even notice. She's too wrapped up in her own machinations.
Rich people.
And Ronan, being called, would kind of try to mask his surprise, and then kind of turn around to face the hostess. Yes, milady?
Your guest this evening is waiting for you outside. I figured it would be unsafe for her to enter a room in this, and she kind of waves her hand, condition.
Yes, of course.
Though before you go, my dear captain, and she kind of brings herself very close to you and she grabs your hand, I'd like to thank you very much for attending this evening's festivities. As dramatic as they have become, I spoke with your friend, and she said that she would be very interested in attending a dinner party between me and a couple of friends. I hope that you'll be able to attend as well. It would be unseemly to leave such a beautiful young woman unattended.
She's worse than us.
Yep.
Yeah.
She's a socialite. She's pretty terrible.
Ronan would kind of like give a surprised, kind of almost smirk at the at the statements being told to him, and just, well, given the events of tonight, I'm not sure that tonight would be the best night for me, but perhaps another night I would be honored to join you.
Of course. Where can I send the invitation?
There's no good answer.
You know, as I'm sure you would guess, my calendar is filling up quite rapidly. How about I will send you a note, personally, as soon as I'm available and can find a time that we would be able to meet, and I would be honored to invite you.
Of course. Yes, of course. I will inform my husband, Mr. Hellas will be quite pleased with you attending a formal dinner with us. Let us forget tonight's festivities. And she kind of ushers you out of the room. Her personal guard are entering the room, and they're trying to push people out and kind of confine the scene. The Deathseeker Crows are literally just sitting on the balcony looking around the room like they're looking for something.
give a courtly bow as he bids the lady good night, and then as soon as he's out of sight, would hurry away. Likely running into Piper soon after.
Piper just automatically like latches onto your arm and falls into the act. What an eventful night.
That's the understatement of a century.
Do you think your bodyguard is doing well?
He seems to find a way against all odds to persevere. I'm sure tonight will be no different.
Let's hope.
Okay. And then I imagine, kind of like on the TV show version of this, you guys walk into the camera and it becomes black, and then it kind of pans down to show you guys back at your headquarters, stripped off of these costumes and in kind of your normal garb, with the exception of Slate, who is kind of like wrapping a bandage across his like burnt flesh across his torso. He's just like tightening it down. You can see him wince with each turn. You guys have completed mission, so we will go into post-mission stuffs. Let me grab the said book now that I've actually got the physical copy. So excited.
It's so nice.
I know.
Do you have the deluxe one or the
No,
classic
I wish
one?
I would have got it.
I kind of regret it. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, he didn't really explain what the deluxe was going to be as far as the cover, and like he mentioned, it was going to be hardbound with like a ribbon for a bookmark, and I was like, the ribbon's cool, but I don't know. And then when he was like, oh yeah, this is what the cover looks like, I was like, damn, I should have done that. Alright.
To be fair, though, for anyone looking to buy the book, the original cover is still damn good.
Yeah. So let's see here.
And it's the only book that stays cool looking as your hands smudge the cover, because it just looks like the figure is behind more smoke.
Alright, so payoff. I believe you guys started at 6 coin and you negotiated your way to 8 coin for information.
That seems like something we would do.
And then
Yeah, that sounds like us.
And then if I remember right, she did offer you 10 coin to take out
Oh God, we have money.
It was something ridiculous like that.
Yeah.
It was something absurd like that.
The precedence that I put forward at this point is assassination is costly business, so 10 coin is like a fair amount to pay someone to kill a whisper, especially one that is quite powerful. She was effectively like a tier 3 whisper. So let's see here.
Our little tier 0 crew, mostly the whisper on its own.
So, that is 18 coin.
Jesus.
You guys
So
do
that-
not have a boss or larger organization to pay up to at the moment.
So are we all going to fill our characters up and then see how much we have to spend?
Yeah, you probably need to.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna spend a bit just trying to freaking heal.
Yeah.
Yep.
What? You can't be that beat up, right? You only got struck by like
He's got-
7 lightning
He's
bolts.
got each level of harm, and he's like 1 point away from traumaing out again.
I mean, there is always the option of being lost.
Yes.
If by being lost you mean playing another character, hell no.
I was gonna say, it's a temporary thing. Essentially, your character
Yeah.
can leave temporarily, and when you come back,
But like
all
a
your
mission,
wounds
right?
Are gone. Yeah, it's at least one mission. All your wounds are gone. Your stress is gone.
I'm a grognard, son. I push through. You're gonna have to kill me for that.
The next bit, we talk about heat here.
Oh boy.
Yeah, this is the fun one. Let me open up the crew sheet here so that I can make adjustments as we go. Alright, so...
There's our heat.
Blah, blah, blah. After score conflict, let's see, we calculate the heat according to the nature of the operation. So the nature of the operation was smooth, quiet, and low exposure. What it became was kind of loud, chaotic, high exposure. But you guys managed to get away separately from each other and establish aliases that can be used again. So I'm willing to drop that down to like contained standard exposure. So
Yeah. People heard lightning and someone died, but there's no body.
yeah, there's nothing that really directly points it back to you guys. So I would say that that's probably contained. So that's gonna be 2 heat.
It's probably just the whole city is now a bit on edge.
So high profile or well connected contact. That
Target?
target. Yes, the whisper that you killed is a high profile person. +1 heat if anything if this happened on hostile turf. This did.
Oh.
Okay, and +1 heat if you're at war. +2 heat if killing was involved, whether the crew did the killing or not. Bodies draw attention. I'm willing to let this one slide because you guys destroyed the body. I would say maybe a 1 instead of a 2 because there were Deathseeker crows.
Yeah.
But there's not enough to
That's
link you
fair.
to a body.
That seems... I would take that any day.
Yeah.
Just to kind of touch on where we are on the heat, we are 2 away from a wanted level. And wanted levels are kind of like in Grand Theft Auto. As they fill up, more cops and things start chasing you. And eventually you have helicopters. I don't know how we're going to do Sparkcraft helicopters, but I think we should now.
I got
Good
work
for
to
that.
do. So it's going to be a
Gyrocopters.
magic helicopter.
Alright, so, blah, 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 blah. Okay. You guys can reduce your... Oh, you don't need to worry about reducing your wanted levels because you don't have wanted levels at the moment.
We can reduce our wanted levels, though,
You can, actually, as you get them.
by sending people to prison.
Yep. You can either go to prison yourselves or you can frame somebody.
I'm pretty sure this was a job for a claim, right?
No, this was a job for Ruby. She
No,
sent us on the job.
but I feel like we talked about getting a claim for this job.
I think we did.
Don't know what that means.
It's the chart, the little spider web of things with layer in the middle.
I remember we were looking at the claims,
Oh.
but I wasn't sure that we talked about getting a claim, like this job.
Yeah, I know we brought up the
Remember I told
idea.
you that this would
but-
be a setup for you guys to get informants, which would be Ruby more or less feeding you guys information about the Spirit Wardens. From their point of view, that would be your informants is basically Spirit Wardens.
I just remembered that we mentioned it. I wanted to bring it up.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's probably if you wanted to kind of go more into gathering and sharing information with Ruby, she and her Spirit Wardens could become informants for you.
What? She's not a spirit warden.
Yes, not that you guys are, letting her know that you know of. All right, so your heat is past 6, I think. 2, 4, 6, 7. Yes, it is. All right.
Entanglements, yay.
Yep. Okay. I'm gonna have to look at your relationships here.
Oh boy.
Okay, switch over to faction mode here. Who do
Let's
you
see.
not have a good relationship with?
Ulf Ironborn doesn't like us, the Railjacks don't like us, and the Reconciled don't like us.
Okay.
Does anyone remember why the Church of Ecstasy has a good relationship with us?
Not a clue.
No, I don't remember.
You guys do not have a hold right now, so actually this is the best thing for it to happen to you guys. Your place is hidden, so it's not going to happen there. This is you guys kind of patching yourselves up in the candle shop, and I have a feeling that the owner of the Veil maybe knows a little bit more of what you guys do. Like, he's not fully aware of who and what you are, but he knows that you dabble in the underworld.
He's our good buddy.
His barback is a young boy that is from Duskfall. He's a street urchin kid that he brought in. He takes care of, like, cleaning up the place. His name is Howard, and Howard runs in to your candle shop as you guys are kind of tightening down bandages and everything. And you hear that ching ching as the bell to the front rings, and you hear somebody tapping on that little desk bell that you have. Looking through this kind of mirror setup that you have, you can see that it's Howard up front, dinging on the bell. He's got a huge gouge on his head, and there's just blood flowing down his right side.
I think, like, without even looking or paying attention to the mirrors, Slate bandaging himself, trying to get the bandages wrapped around enough so that, like, that moisture and almost pussy substance doesn't show on the other side of the bandage. Mm-hmm. Here's this banging, the boom, 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 boom. He just grimaces, grunts, gets up, and grabs a pistol and starts walking to the front.
Yeah, as you come around, the kid's like, Slate, you gotta come quick. It's the Veil. Ulf, God damn it, that guy, he came in, he said he was looking for you, Slate. Ironborn, the Veil's on fire.
I think Slate, same reaction everybody else is having.
He's like, we got everybody out. The old man said, don't worry about the tavern. He can rebuild, but Ironborn's out for blood. We wanted to let you know before something else happened. Something worse.
I think Slate just, like, nods. He doesn't say anything to the kid. Nods, puts down the pistol on the front counter, and finishes wrapping that last bandage that was hanging off of his arm. Grabs the pistol and just walks right back to the back.
Oh, sorry, I need to adjust something. I'm going to drop Ulf down to -2 because you would have lost a hold, but you guys are weak hold right now. So there's no hold for you to lose. Instead, I'm going to put you much closer to war with Ulf Ironborn.
We're almost at war. We're rich, but we're almost at war.
So we can start downtime actions now. You can take that how you want. You can add it to the list of growing problems that you have in Duskfall.
Yay.
Yeah. So, of course, when Slate gets back, like, before we start doing downtime actions, he'll just, the closest one of the two, he throws the pistol at them, like so they can catch it, and just says, "You're gonna need to use that. Looks like we got more problems."
There's always more problems.
What is it this time?
Ironborn.
I heard something about fire.
The veil's gone.
The snake's still alive?
Everybody got out.
Well, I pity Ironborn. He's signed his death warrant. Who's going to do business with someone who burned down the Veil?
Think sort of in his own mind, paying about as much attention to Piper as was paid to him during that party. He sits back down, grabs another like roll of gauze, and starts attending himself once again.
Okay.
Probably deserve that.
So, it's been a little while since we've done downtime actions. I'm going to cast it across to everybody so that you guys can kind of see what is going on in options for you. Ah, shoot, I accidentally edited. Show players. If you supersize that, you can see what your downtime actions are available to you. Most obviously, recovery is going to be a good option for pretty much all of you. You guys
I'm clean on harm.
You guys have two free ones, and then each additional move is going to cost you a coin. So,
And we got 18 coin, right?
correct in total.
So how much of that can we hold?
Just what we have in our pockets, I think.
Each.
No, we have
your
a vault.
Your vault is
But-
full right now. It's got
The vault is full.
Yeah.
I can hold on to 2 more coin.
Yeah, I can take 2
16.
more on my personal end.
And I can take 4 more. So that's
You spent every no.
8. So we have to
Yep.
spend at a minimum of 10 coin.
I'll spend 6 healing.
So we got to spend 10.
We got to spend 10.
I'm
Gotta
gonna note
spend
that real
10.
quick here. It's the hit new show on Cartoon Network. Spend 10.
Unfortunately, I was thinking the same exact thing.
Yeah. You can transform into 10 different kinds of banker.
All right, so with that said, let me pull this real quick. All right, let's start with Slate. You're gonna recover. Is there any anybody that you want to go to that you have as like an ally or anything? That
There was not
could help you
Nyrix.
out?
Nyrix in the body of
Salia.
Salia.
yeah, Thalia.
Salia is an information broker, and Nyrix
Is a possessed ghost.
is a possessor ghost. If you want to trust her and her friends, they could help you, but there might be problems with that, and you know that going in.
You talking about Nyrix or Thalia?
Nyrix.
Yeah, no, Nyrix. 100%. I already know what's going on.
Well, what I'm saying is if you go to Nyrix to help you recover, Nyrix is going to do some weird ghost nonsense to you, which may not be the best plan. Just giving you a heads up.
Oh, she hooked me up last time.
Okay.
That and my obligation is to Nyrix, so I'd figure I'd default to her anyway.
Okay. So let's kind of frame this one up because I think this is more interesting. Nyrix takes you through kind of the older section of Crow's Foot to this apartment complex, and it's just kind of this shithole. The building's kind of collapsing on itself. It's an old brownstone, but like the first floor room that's closest to the street, the bricks have broken away, and it's really confusing as to how this building is even intact at this point. You can see that there are people like living inside the exposed apartment, which has been locked off so that the people from the street, when they go into that apartment, can't get into the rest of the building. But she takes you through a couple of doorways at Salia, and then she dumps Salia unconsciously on the floor inside one room, and then walks with you to a whole nother set of rooms. She gives you a key that is a little bit different than normal. As a Whisper, you'd recognize it as a ghost key. She'll walk you over to this wall, and you can see that there's a painting, and she indicates that you need to move it. Once you do, you can see this kind of electroplasm blue kind of keyhole just behind where the painting was.
Yeah, I use the key and open the door.
Perfect. Once the key is inserted, you can see like these lines of electric blue just kind of come up into this kind of Gothic style pointed archway type door, and then the wall itself fades back out of reality. You find yourself walking into this parlor with these copper tanks inside there, and there's someone who's distilling drinks. After a few moments of getting yourself adjusted, you've realized that you've kind of crossed into this kind of weird threshold between the real world and the spirit realms. It's a place where Whisperers who are really well trained could enter through kind of like a projection type ability, so that they could actually see the ghost field and interact with it. You're physically there, though, because of the way that you came in. Your body exists outside of time at the moment, and what they're basically doing is allowing you to heal without time passing. So there'll be some interesting effects with that. The gentleman that's there is a man who used to be a doctor in Dustfall that died making drugs in his house. And a lot of what he used to do in his living life has carried over to his supernatural life. And that's what you can see, that most of what he's doing inside here is crafting like opiates and stuff like that, like heavy drugs. And he's using stuff from like the spirit ghost field area to kind of amplify and change the way these chemicals work. He sits you down to do your recovery. This works like a long-term project, but on your character sheet you see that there is a 4 o'clock wedge next to your injuries.
Yeah.
Basically, when you fill the clock, actually I think they changed
that clock's empty now, actually, because when we take harm, it empties out again.
Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, because it's already got 2 ticks in it, right?
Yeah, it's empty once you take harm again.
Yeah, I can't affect that clock.
It's the progress thing right next to it where it says 0, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
There we go.
Let's see here. And I believe they changed it, because the reference that I put up there says that all of your harm goes down by 1. I think you pick 1 harm now.
No, I think it's all of it. I'm pretty sure it's all of it. It all ticks down by 1.
Because I remember watching the It Me JP playthrough, and injuries got really severe after a certain point. Here we go. When you fill your clock, reduce each instance of harm on your sheet by 1. Okay, good. Then that is the correct reference that I gave you. So, I think it is fair for you to use a tune on this one if you'd like to heal yourself. Or if you want, you can go with the Ghost Doctor and let him roll his dice.
I have an attune of 3.
Yeah, it's just a question of, do you think his tinker is better than your attune?
You know what? Nyrix brought me here, and Slate trusts Nyrix, so let the doc do his deal.
Okay. Nyrix and the doc are helping you, so that's going to be 1 extra die. You want a devil's bargain?
I think but
You want to
could
figure it out?
well, yeah, I was gonna offer something that might have been inspiration, but yeah, go
Okay.
go ahead.
What's your idea?
I think he's there. He's like trying to carry on a conversation. Like the whole ghost thing doesn't bother him. Not only because he's a whisper, because like his best friend is dead, right? And he's kind of like a mix between complaining what happened, like how he got into the situation, and he's trying to throw in subtle hints, but they're not so subtle because he's Slate. About hey, what about that thing you were talking about before? That thing with the church, and he's talking to Nyrix because he doesn't know if he should mention it in front of the doc.
Oh, that she wants you to push against the church and
Yeah.
bring down some targets. No, she openly has the conversation with you about it. The doctor and Nyrix are part of the same circle and have the same interests.
Okay.
The doctor tells you, there's a bishop in the church. He's causing the most of our issues. And he holds open like this little paper envelope, and he kind of licks it and then folds it closed. If you could steep this in his tea, I'm sure our problem would go away.
Oh damn. Okay. Spike Bishop's tea.
Yep, that would be the devil's bargain. To spike the bishop's tea with some sort of weird ghost drug.
Yep, I'll take it.
Best kind of drug.
That is a crit, so the whole thing will fill.
Nice.
So everything will drop down by 1, so Singed will go away, Beat by Garbage Golem will go to 1, and Thunderstruck will go to 2.
Yeah, because I went right into the next thing without ever really having a chance to heal right.
Resign, I wish was canon. Global peace from.
Okay. That's 1 free action.
Here's an interesting question. A crit is 5 ticks, right? So does that roll over, or does that just go away?
That is true. Yeah, let's have it roll over since you still have harm.
Cool. I think for the other free action, he's in dire need of healing, so he's just gonna stand there, and he's like separate from time right now.
Yeah.
It's a really cool area for him.
Out.
Like now that he knows about like everyone's in the circle, he's like letting his tongue fly. Then it's like, oh, this is an interesting area. The fact that this is weird. Like, I didn't know we could do this.
Okay. Instead of Tinker, I think you should Attune, because you're more or less kind of letting yourself be part of the ghost field at this point, and letting the ghost field kind of pull at your mortal body and help you.
Okay, so what's the position?
Controlled, because these two are basically helping you from being ripped into oblivion.
Do downtime things have position and effect?
They don't.
Okay.
Well, they can, but typically they don't. You
So
make them controlled and standard just for the die roll.
Okay.
You will get a bonus because of Nyrix.
All right. So that's what I got.
Okay.
I got 6.
6 will fill up 4 slots, so we'll keep the pie where it is, and Thunderstruck will go down to 1, and Garbage Golem stuff will go away. Another thing you can do because of the investment that you've had is, if you wanted to, you could start a long-term project to make the Ghost Doctor your friend.
Yeah.
Okay. His name is Red, by the way. It's an 8-segment clock. Red Orlington. It'll cost you 1 coin to do that, and you can tell me how you to pursue that relationship of becoming his friend. The kind of like most logical thing to do would be to attune, but if you have a different way, you can choose to do something else.
No, I think like he'll keep like attuning and I guess trying to get the vibes of this place. Mm-hmm. You know, like the energy, the flow, trying to also look at himself and how his own spirit reacts to it. Especially since he's probably high on all these weird drugs right now.
Yeah, there's sort of a euphoric state going on right now.
You know, and part of befriending this doctor is like instead of just passively getting worked on, he's getting friendlier and sort of friendlier and chattier. And it's like, you know what, I've been here. I don't even know how long I've been here, but you know, again with the little the thing, his voice is getting a little back to normal as he's being healed with all these chemicals. Mm-hmm. You know, I've been with these couple of guys. Well, one of them is not so much a guy. He's just, I don't know what she is. He is, whatever. Sometimes people are confused. You know, people, the flesh and stuff. I don't get it. But ooh, what's this? This has got a funky color to it. Would this kill me? Or he just starts like picking up the chemicals, mm-hmm. and like asking if he could try them. And that's like how he's like befriending this guy and stuff.
Yeah, so he actually really welcomes the chance to kind of experiment on a mortal that's willing. So he kind of goes back and forth with you. I would say that is most likely going to fall under Consort, Attune, or possibly Tinker, however you want to take it.
I'm going to rock Attune.
Okay.
Is it still just risky control?
Yeah, it is.
All right. And no bonus, right?
Correct.
So 525.
All right, and a 5 fills up 3, if I remember right. Maybe.
It's a failure is 1, moderate, which is 4 to 5, is 2, success is 3, and a crit is 5.
Okay.
Because the crit jumps up.
I want to like carry this on. Like I don't want to spend the whole time of everybody's time role playing and stuff, but basically I want to carry it on for.
So you're gonna do a couple of rolls inside the chat and figure out how many coin you had to spend to complete this clock.
Yeah.
Okay. I will add him to your list here.
So the second roll is 362.
So a 6 would be 3 wedges. That'll put you to 5.
And I'm going to do it one more time.
Okay.
And it's 655.
Okay, and that will fill out your clock. So we'll delete that one real quick here. And Red Orlington, the Spirit Healer, is now your ally.
Nice.
Throughout kind of hanging out with them through the evening, you do discover some stuff and kind of think to yourself, somewhere in between the cloudy, drug-induced state that you're in, is that this is stuff that Piper would be real interested in eventually.
You know, she would, wouldn't she?
Slade had a bad day. Piper was not a good friend.
After countless, however, like time, space, all that stuff, I mean, I wouldn't know how much of it passed in the condition I'm in anyway. Not that it actually matters in this little pocket space. But, like, eventually getting all buddy-buddy with the ghosts and, you know, chatting with Red, chatting with Nyrix, when he eventually leaves and like hobbles and stumbles throughout the city. Once in a while, like pulling off a bandage that was kind of still there that he doesn't really need anymore.
You may want to clear stress also, by the way.
Oh, how do you clear stress?
That's its own thing.
Nice.
You'll indulge your vice.
Indulge your vice.
Okay, well, I could have my vice is an obligation to Nyrix.
Okay.
They're two different things.
Nyrix will double down on the take out the bishop.
Okay.
She lists off a couple of like cardinals. Like after you leave, Nyrix walks out with you, and she says, "Listen, I know Red wants the bishop taken care of, but there are two cardinals that are more of a problem. Let's take out one of them. I'll handle Red. I'll smooth it over, but." She kind of looks around to make sure that Red's not around. And she says, there's a cardinal there with the last name Bowman. He's more of a problem than Bishop Jayan is. If you can take care of both, then that's great, but Cardinal Bowman and Cardinal Savoy are our biggest threats. Savoy won't make a move without Bowman. He's the master cog in this whole thing.
I'm like, honey, you know, I got you, right, girl? And he goes in to give her a hug, and he steps through her.
Yep.
He goes, oh, shit.
She kind of smiles and she says, if you insist. I'm sure Salia would be less comfortable with the hug than I, but...
I'm like, that's just Zenitsu. Look, I got you. Don't.
Okay. So when you want to roll your vice, you've gone and seen your vice purveyor, you get to roll equal to your lowest attribute, and then you will clear that much stress equal to your highest die. If you clear...
Lowest attribute is resolved.
There's a little indulge vice button, too.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Resolve.
Bling, bling. Bonus dice 0.
Actually 1, because Sully is your friend. Or sorry,
Okay.
Alex is your friend.
Resolve.
Bling, bling.
So you get to clear 3 stress.
3.
Yep.
1, 2, 3.
There you go.
Damn it! I need to clear more. How else will I indulge in my obligation?
So, the targets that I gave you, those 3, we could either
Yeah.
do them as a mission, or if you want to keep them on the down low from the rest of the group and kind of keep it as like your secret from the group, we could do them during downtime. Essentially, I would sum it up to 1 roll just to see how things went. Basically, because you're poisoning somebody, it's gonna be a prowl or finesse.
Okay.
And if you were to, let's say, take out multiple targets and get a little creative with how you do the poisoning, that could be another chance to indulge because you're trying to impress your vice purveyor by going the extra mile, that kind of thing.
See, but there's only enough in this package for 1.
For 1 cup of tea, yes. But 1 cup of tea can
Yeah.
supply multiple people.
Oh God, I don't really know what it's the Church of the Ecstasy of the Flesh,
Correct.
right?
Yeah, it's
Like-
the biggest church in Dustfall. It's like a huge cathedral.
That like us, for some reason.
Well, of course I'm going to keep this secret for the rest of the party.
Okay.
He's going to do this on the DL.
I mean,
yeah.
the other thing too is if you poison one and then you use like something else, like let's say you use a tune to make them, I don't know, disappear via ghostly means, then you could do that as well. But each one of those would be an action in and of itself to clear stress, essentially.
Yeah, I want to take them all out, all three of them.
The first one is just part of your agreement to Nyrix would be taking out Bowman, which would be via poisoning if you want to listen to her instructions.
All right. Yeah, the bishop was the one that was supposed to be the poison, but this is my girl Nyrix, so Bowman's gonna get the poison.
Okay. If you just want to do it like straight up, that's just a finesse or prowl, whichever one you want to use.
Okay.
If you want to get a little creative and kind of set up a situation to where like the three of them are in a room, I'm open to hear your ideas, and we can kind of talk it out and see how that happens.
I don't have too much awesome abilities yet because we just really started. So how would I get them all in the room? Because I don't know what the ecstasy of the flesh. I don't remember exactly what they're all about.
They're a church that believes that if you are doing things the way you're supposed to, that you can ascend to become a demon. They are very anti-ghosts in general.
Okay, so how, like, what is it by doing things you're supposed to? What does that mean?
So the church has tenets. Think of the church kind of like Catholicism.
Okay.
If you do enough good deeds, instead of going to heaven, you become a demon. Because essentially when the gates to the afterlife closed and all the ghosts came here, there's also a bunch of demons and things like that that are around just in general. For example, the islands to the north, the island name here, Tychros, that is an island that's ruled by demons. Basically, if you do follow the church's tenets, that you can become one. It means stuff like they will conduct torture on hulls and cut away the flesh and things like that as acts of penance. They pray to some of the more occult gods when you get to the lower chambers of the church. This is all stuff that you kind of know just from being around in the groups that you hang out with.
All right. Do I know of like their relationship with the spirit wardens?
Yeah, it's actually really tight. Spirit wardens police ghosts, so the church supports them. In the past, the spirit wardens were actually knights, and they were more or less crusaders for the church.
All right. So, I'm trying to think of like what would get the attention of a couple of cardinals and a damn bishop. You know, like do they have like a mass service, individual services or private services?
So typically, when mass is held, at least one bishop is there. The two bishops that she brought up, after a few days of kind of looking into it, you find out that they typically do services together, that they're very close. And what Salia gave you, her information, or not Salia, Nyrix gave you, her information was really good. Essentially, Bowman is kind of the brains of the operation. Savoy follows him around and helps out, but Savoy is almost nothing without Bowman. After looking at the church's schedule, you find a day where all three of them will be basically giving service, and there is once the church is complete, there's always that like greeting hour after church is over. All three of them would be around at that point.
All right, and big crowds too, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking of something ridiculous. What I want to do is, you know, the greeting hour. You mentioned like Catholicism, so I'm picturing like making offerings. the cross between Catholicism and demons makes me think about a little bit of paganism as well. So, making offerings, using the packet to brew a little something that can be poured in shot glasses, and trying to like keep it hot and making sure, like every time I pour one, I have like a like a towel in my hand.
Right.
And I put a towel in my hand and I hand them the glass so that the hot glass doesn't bother them, And the last shot glass of this offering, if they want me to take any, I'll have a shot glass for myself that has a hole in the bottom, so that when I pour it, it bleeds out into the cloth underneath.
Mm-hmm.
And pretend to drink it.
Okay. So during the social hour, I think the best way to get all of them at once would probably be a consort. Just because you're trying to get them to be cheerful and kind of toast with you and everything. This is kind of public, so I'd give you the devil's bargain of people will recognize that your involvement to some stretch. It's going to be heat, essentially, is what will come out of it if you decide to take the devil's bargain.
Yeah, I'll decide to take the devil's bargain because I have nothing in consort.
Okay.
How much heat?
This is a big gathering. It's going to be 2.
Oh, that puts us into wanted.
You guys can fix that. It just means that the cops will start looking for you.
Could we reduce heat first?
I'm going to say no.
All right, so what's the position?
Risky.
Can I upgrade that for more dice or no?
Yes. It's going to be risky great to start. You can push and gain an extra die if you want. It will mean 2 stress for pushing.
Isn't the reason you're doing this to clear stress?
Yes.
Yeah. But I get to roll, right?
Yeah.
You know what? I just like the idea of it so much. I'm going to take the 2 stress.
Okay.
Wait. I'm just making sure. Devil's bargains and pushing yourself are mutually exclusive, right?
Oh, they are. I forgot. That is a change from one of the earlier editions. Because you took a devil's bargain, you cannot push yourself. So.
Oh, okay. All right. I didn't know that.
You can get help though, but there's nobody who's really involved in this since you decided to get it yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Golly. So I'll get 1 die from the devil's bargain.
Yep.
Or I could push myself.
Correct.
So
2 stress or 2 heat. That really becomes the choice if you want your bonus die.
I've been so selfless to this point.
So
I'm gonna go for the stress. I'm gonna go for the. No, I'm not gonna go for. No, I'm gonna say heat. Fuck it.
Okay.
I'll switch this to wanted.
Risky, great.
Right?
Yes, it does.
Risky. Oh wow, great. There's more. There's extreme and 0. I don't.
Yeah, they added
that. Those are things that should have been inside the roll options before. 0 essentially is. It shouldn't actually be an option. It means that anything you're doing has no real effect if you have 0. And you can push yourself for better effect, though. So you could start at 0 and then push to go beyond 0.
Okay.
And extreme is what happens if you get a crit and you have great effect already.
Yeah.
All right, but there's no way to get extreme.
Actually, because
otherwise, you're
right? Your let me see. I think you have that armor, don't you?
What armor?
No, you didn't have special armor just yet.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'll let the Devil's Bargain. Instead of a bonus die, you could go to Extreme instead.
I'm going to need a bonus die because I have nothing in Consort.
Okay.
Alright, so it's just risky great, right?
Correct.
And 1 bonus die.
Let's go.
Cross the fingers! Submit, and I don't have the chat thing open.
Perfect.
What'd I get? I got a 4.
Means it happens, but there is problems. So, with a risky roll, just to remind us of how that goes with a 4, that is, you do it, but there's a consequence. You suffer harm, complication occurs, or you have reduced effect. You end up in a desperate position. Okay, so this is going to touch a little bit on the fact that heat happened. You distilled it to 3 shots, essentially. You're going to see that Savoy takes his shot back, and you were expecting kind of a quiet poison that would make that look like they might fall asleep or something like that. He is evidently having a really strong reaction to it. He starts foaming at the mouth. He's uttering words that don't make sense. And he's got blood coming from his tear ducts. Everybody else is freaking out, trying to figure out what's going on. Bowman points to you, and he starts screaming at you, and I imagine that your character's probably not going to stick around, are you?
I would have offered it to Bowman first, since he was the one that Nyrix wanted dead.
Yeah.
But you said it was Savoy that was bugging out.
Well, Savoy is having an allergic reaction to one of the ingredients.
Oh, so they all drank
it. But Savoy is clearly having an allergic reaction.
So as he's saying this, I want to make like I'm drinking.
You can see
and
him
then,
like kind of heaving with his breath as he's like pointing at you.
I'm making like I'm drinking, and then in classic Slate fashion, sort of like looking behind me at who he's talking about. Mm-hmm. Still with my cup in my hand, I'm like, who? What?
And you hear
okay. I was gonna throw the
start to wheeze more, and then thump. His head hits the table. The only one that didn't take his drink was the bishop. The bishop kind of watched the whole thing happen. He's very aware of what happened, and you can tell he doesn't want to push the situation. There's too many people, there's dead bodies on the table, and it's not slow like it was last time. You can hear the church bells ring because they're literally right outside of you, where you are right now. The crows begin to circle the church. If you stick around, you will get caught by the cops. So you know for sure that you have to leave at this point. But the bishop was the only one who was not affected by it.
You know what? This is for my girl.
Okay.
And she'd still be living if it wasn't for me. So he's gonna pull a dagger and try to stab the cardinal in the throat.
Oh boy!
No roll.
Smiling right before he does so.
No roll. You do it. He is dead, but the entire congregation has seen you do this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll address the problems that come from that later.
Okay.
But you can roll to reduce stress.
What is
So are we still on good terms with the church?
No.
Why? I don't want to see what the big... All we did is kill 3 of their high-ranking members.
Is the church +2 or +1?
The church is +1.
Drop down to -1.
All right. Are we still on bad terms with the reconciled?
No. Bring them up to a +1 because he went above and beyond.
They flipped. Now the lower tier one likes us, and the single most powerful religious organization in the world hates us.
Yep.
Much better.
And then you got
How many times do I roll?
Just the way I like it.
Chris,
Yep.
I only rolled to reduce that stress once before. So
Right.
for this, how many times do I roll for that? Was it only one? Or was it
It's going to be
two?
one more time.
Okay.
Come on, roll a 6.
You
Do I get any bonus dice for this
Yeah,
one?
you're going to get a bonus die because you went, and you essentially you got the first roll for agreeing to kill the bishop, and then this time you're rolling because you killed one of the cardinals, but because you got away with killing the second cardinal, there's a bonus die in there.
Okay, cool. I got a 5.
All right, does that overindulge? 2, 4, 5. Dang it!
Nope.
No, it doesn't. Exactly what you needed.
Yeah.
Because this would have been a great place for you to overindulge.
Oh man.
It would have.
It would've.
So I think that your character, after knifing the bishop, you kind of like wheel around, realize that like literally every eye of the congregation is on you. There's no real easy way to clean this up. You just book and leave the place. Ronan, Slate's been gone for about a day or two. And then you hear the bell ring out from the tower again. And it's almost reflexive. Everybody from Dustfall, when that bell rings out, looks out to see what's going on. The church has crows circling it. This is completely unheard of. It has been a service day, like a big service day. This would be like Church Sunday, main mass, a murder has happened in the church. What do you like to do on your downtime?
Oh man. Ronan has hardly noticed that Slate has been gone. In fact, he's hardly noticed much of anything, as he's just been furiously scribbling notes, essays. He, like, being at the party kind of knocked something loose with the social aspect in him, where it's like that need for that recognition that he felt being in that Imperial costume has kind of consumed him in the moment. And he's like, whatever Slate's been doing, I don't care. Like I've put my publishing career on the back burner for too long for all this mission nonsense. We made our money, we made our haul, and I'm gonna go hard on my vice.
Okay. What is the current essay that you're publishing, or is it like a book of essays relating to a topic?
So, I imagine it's like some super pretentious, gaudy, like Raskolnikov type shit, where it's just like great people get to do whatever they want to, and like there's the difference between the mediocre and the truly great humans, and the truly great have entitlement to their actions and entitlement to their beliefs, and just like really over the top, like.
Okay.
Not ever referring distinctly to himself, but clearly subconsciously that's kind of the purpose.
Right. And are you publishing it under Kent King, or are you using a different name?
Yes.
Okay.
Under his own full name.
We're bad at being criminals.
Yeah.
Well, this is more
yeah.
for like social interactions. Like if he goes out as Kent King, if he's been publishing stuff like this, he's going to get kind of like this weird reception, like, hey, look, it's Marx. Karl Marx is over there. Let's go talk to him about his Marxist theory. Like the King's theory is what it will be called if he keeps publishing stuff like this, and it will become a point of conversation.
Which is exactly what he's hoping for. That is the dream. So I'm going to go ahead and indulge some vice here. Any bonus dice you think makes sense?
No, I don't think so. Not on this one.
Fair enough. Ooh, and that is a 5.
Yes, you can go ahead and train. Remember, you can only train each thing once, though.
Mhm.
All right. Does
That's
okay?
a
5 drops you down to 3, so you should be fine.
down to 3. Yeah, that should put me getting that out of his system definitely raises his spirits some and kind of gets him back into whatever
Yeah,
pretentious elitist headspace he has.
I don't think that we have to really play it out, but like I envision there's like a small conversation between you and your publisher. Like he's very excited to get your latest book, and then he sees this passionate project of yours, and he's like paging through it, and he's like, I don't know about this one. I think you might be getting a little bit past your audience, and he publishes it anyways because that's what you're paying for. But he's like really against it, just because I want to have the fun conversation later that you get to have with, well, the King's theory is right, and I told you.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and Ronan would, and Kent, I guess, in this scenario, would absolutely be like, "No, dude, you got to publish it. This is like my magnum opus thus far. This is my jam. You have to put this out there. Like, this is me, and I'm counting on you to like make it happen because I know I'm on the right track." And it's just like full on, just gonna like push it to make it happen despite any resistance.
Okay. Yeah, there's kind of a heated conversation, and he publishes it anyways, like I said. You're okay. I know. Alright, so, is there anything else that you'd like to do?
There. Where did my downtime thing go? The other one was, I think that Kent would also, again, given that their subtlety has never quite panned out the way that he had, is going to seek out his friend Jaren again and continue his firearms training.
Okay.
He had started up last time of working on some gunmanship, because that seems to be a necessary skill compared to where they started out as.
Okay. And I think as a crew, you guys get
Everything but resolves.
Yeah.
I was about to type that. When we train, we get 2 experience instead of 1, right?
Yes, for
For those
insight,
specific things.
also for your playbooks.
All right, just wanted to make sure I clicked it right.
And so I am going to train. It is going to be insight, going towards hunt.
Yeah, which will
She'll
bump
put
you
me-
up to 5. So you're
Yeah.
you're one shy of being able to put a dot in hunt.
Absolutely. And then I would like to spend a coin as well, to continue my long project researching into the cult statue, the goddess statue that we found, that he had been trying to research prior, where he had.
Yeah.
That's where he kind of got into some trouble with some of the books. Yep, exactly. I will go ahead and put another coin into that, trying to just continue their research, or his research, and trying to figure out what that statue was and what that cult is and all that kind of thing.
Okay. So, what are you going to do to kind of pull information to find out the answer to that question? Last time we saw you kind of snooping around in your publishing library. Or sorry, not in the publishing library, at the university.
Yeah, the university library, yeah. And this might be pushing a little bit, but would there be, do we have anybody that who'd be able to talk to about it. Maybe somebody who's a little bit more versed in kind of the occult or the underground of that kind of belief sector.
Salia might know. She's one of your positive contacts. Or sorry, she's an
She's my enemy. Yeah.
She's your enemy. Never mind. But she might know if you want to go down that route. As far as people that you've been introduced to, the other one that might have some information, though he's kind of shady, is the guy that Piper goes to, Ojak. He dabbles in strange spirit contraptions and things like that. Most of his stuff is garbage, but occasionally he gets his hands on good information or actual materials.
Yeah, I think probably against his own better judgment would give it a try and try to kind of schmooze him over, and see if he can dig up any information. Kind of like trying to play it off under the guise more of like the occult curious about the occult kind of thing, not necessarily trying to overplay his hand, but
right.
At least try to see what he can dredge up from even such an unseemly source.
So I take it you sketch like a drawing of what the statue looks like for him and be like, have you seen anything like this? Just kind of broad questions to see what he's got. What would you like to roll to get that information? I think pretty much anything in the results.
I was kind of pushing consort, I think, for this one, just trying to kind of play it off. Okay. Again, kind of under the guise of a common interest in weird things.
All right, so you can make your consort roll.
All right, and is position relevant to
just controlled standard
to a long-term project? So. Any bonus dice?
No, not for this one.
Enough.
Okay, a 6 will get you
6.
3 wedges. However, if you want, you can spend a coin to bump up your results to get 5 wedges. You guys have
I'll do that. Yeah.
I'm mentioning it.
Yes, how much do we have left that we have to spend?
That puts you at 7 total. I believe. Go ahead.
I spent 4 of the excess coin. Okay. Which results in 3 of the excess coin for between the two, like for each of you, or 6 between the two of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's 6 left. So that could go towards the from the excess coin. So that would be 5.
Yeah, I'll use another coin for that. So we'll have 5 left.
Okay. That leaves you.
Well, I also used a coin to use that bonus action. To use the because that would be my 3rd downtime.
Yep. Okay, so that'll drop you down to 4. And you are one tick away from completing Siren's Call.
Yes. So I don't know, with the downtime actions, is it possible for me to do another of the same? Like, could I spend another coin to do more research?
Yep.
I will use my last coin then, I think, to continue the last leg of the research. Like I think he got like way more research from that guy than I thought he was.
Regardless of what you roll, it'll fill the clock anyways. I mean, the only thing that would be pertinent is if you get a critical. So go ahead and give me a consort roll, or you could do it as like.
Yeah, I think he would switch back to study at this point. Yeah, like he's taken the information from that guy. It was surprisingly useful from a person such as him, and now he's kind of taking that to try to finish off the last kind of bit.
Yeah, he told you basically that this is a sea demon. He's not really sure of which one. He kind of goes into some detail about some stuff that you may not necessarily have found on your own. It appears that this demon happens to be one that is focused on the power of emotions, and specifically temptation.
Interesting. right, and a last study roll would give me a 4.
Okay. With that, your studying is pretty much complete. You've looked over all the information, and you figured out that this is an old god, which I'd named before, and now I'm forgetting, so I'm looking at the list.
You've referred to her as the Siren Song a couple times. I don't know if that's what you're referring to, though.
Yes.
I know that was like the name that we knew it as, but there was like an actual name
yes.
that we were trying to figure out.
You guys
Yeah.
learned it to be the Siren Song, but he's about to get
It's
the real
Dagon! No.
Here we
It's
go.
Karen.
Let's see here. It was the Silent Song is what you knew her as. You are able to learn some of the cult practices. So let me roll a couple cult practices here. One of the things that you've noticed by doing your research, especially in this last bit where you were studying, is there's been property that's been bought throughout town. And it's been bought within the last 6 months. After a little bit of looking around, there's a piece on the statue that kind of looks like a 7-pointed star. The properties that have been bought around town seem to emulate the locations of where those points would be. There seems to be some sort of sacred geometry with the property being bought, which leads you to learn where some safe houses or cult locations may be in the city. Comparing it to like where your first mission went down, that happened to be one of the points. And there seems to be something really special or important about the center of the city, because if you look at the map of Duskfall, pinged location, this city court area here is the center of where the 7-pointed star would be.
I see.
That location seems to be important. The place you found it, the other thing that stood out is the place you found the statue, there was a spirit well. Everything that you're finding out is that spirit wells are kind of this link between where the Leviathans and gods hide, basically, in between the real world and our world. They're mysterious things. They can be used as gateways, but if you had to venture a guess, a spirit well has been crafted at each one of these sites. And everything that you've discovered through study leads you to believe that an acolyte must be baptized in this water, which is kind of like basically shoving someone's head into hell and then expecting them to come out okay afterward.
Oh, that's rad.
Okay, so we are down to 3 coin in the spin pile.
All right, and I think that should wrap. Oh, did he get is the Silent Song the actual name, or did he get the actual name?
Yes, the actual name. Let me give you a real demon name. Hold on. Feenoch, Fienoch.
Yeah.
Which I'll put in the chat there.
Awesome. And I think between the device, the training, and
sorry, because you did research, you were able to find out what everybody is assuming to be a female goddess is a god, in fact. Because you did heavier digging than most people did.
Alrighty, I think that will wrap up my downtime then. I will leave the last of the 3 excess coins to our friend Simon over there.
I have been having a debate with myself over whether I should indulge vice or just clear all my stress by pushing myself.
Traumas are handy to have at least one.
Because I realized,
And
because
obsessed is a trauma.
it is a trauma. So I am going to visit Ojak, but for a different reason. Because
Okay.
I have an idea and a blueprint, and I need supplies.
Okay. So, the one you took earlier, you said it was Strange Methods.
Strange Methods.
Allows you to begin with one arcane design already known.
Yes.
Let me open up to Arcane Designs.
Well, it's like designing a thing. We design a new thing,
Yeah.
right?
I just gotta get the questions out because I don't remember if Arcane has different questions or same ones.
224 is the page.
224. Okay.
I think it's the same questions. It's just
I think it is. It's just
it opens
an
up.
arcane thing instead of
Yeah.
a mechanical thing. Yeah.
And if it's both arcane and sparkcraft, I get to tick both of them.
You have
Theoretic.
both,
Yeah, I
so
have both.
It could be a strange merriment of both, but I'm gonna say that will take a long-term project for you.
Yeah, I'd
figure
have
out
to
how marry
build
it.
something new.
Yeah.
This is something purely arcane.
Yeah. So something arcane. Let's ask the questions here. What type of creation is it, and what does it do? So
I'm torn between two. Something that lets us turn invisible or like walk through the ghost field, or a candle that makes people tell the truth.
okay.
Not a lasso? No.
I like the candle idea just because it fits with your theming.
Yeah, it's a little too perfect, I think. It's just
It's a little too
super
perfect.
cool.
All right. What type of creation is it? It's like this. It's this red candle. It's like a shorter one, like a fat candle rather than a tall candle, is what I think. And it makes anyone anyone in its light cannot speak lies.
Okay. So your question to me is, what is the minimum quality of this item?
What is the minimum quality level of this item?
It's a single person, so.
I mean, it's everyone in the light theoretically, right?
Oh, that's true. So I'm
It would
gonna
hit.
say
It would
it's a
hit
question
us
of, like,
too.
Yeah, it's a question of how much the aura is. So I have an idea if you want to change it. Maybe the candle has like so many uses, but you have to pour wax on the person. That way it only affects one person. If you want it to be the light, I would consider it a small room.
As a player, I like the double-edged sword of the light
Okay.
because it means we can't lie light either.
That is true.
Yeah, but
Okay.
pouring wax on someone isn't like hey, how you doing?
Yeah, like there's
You know.
there's a little bit of effort that has to go into pouring wax on someone, so.
Have a good day. I know, right? It's like, hey, nice to meet you. Here's some wax in your eye. I've got a few questions for you.
Okay. Duration, it's a fatter candle than it is tall, so I would say, I think an hour would be fair. But I think it has to be used at once. So, like, if you cut the candle early at like 30 minutes and you snuff it, the candle's done. It doesn't.
You've
have,
broken
like,
the
an extra
pattern.
third or 30 minutes or anything. Yeah. So, I think its tier is probably going to be, to start off, adequate.
Which is.
I think so, which is a 1. So, 3, 4 is the magnitude. So, let's see here. GM asks, what rare, strange, or adverse aspect of the formula designed to kept in obscurity or out of common usage? I think it's what you said, is the fact that it affects everybody in the room. It's just not super practical, or else the Spirit Wardens would probably be using these candles all the time. And I think that people who are in the know are going to recognize these candles. So, like, if you interrogate the wrong person that knows about these kind of candles, they're going to try and turn the conversation so that they're going to get beneficial information from you at the same time.
Okay.
So your question to me next would be, what
drawbacks does this item have, if any?
I think we already discussed that. A person who's in the know can turn this around on you and ask you questions that you have to answer honestly. So that brings up an interesting question. Does the candle make you answer? I think it should, because that's what makes it dangerous.
I like that.
So
that's fun.
That's why I say a smart person could turn it back on you, because if a smart person can get control of the conversation, they can be the ones asking the questions at that point. Based on that, I'm going to lower the magnitude by 1 because it's a pretty double-edged sword there, so it's a magnitude 3. Let's see. Blah, blah, blah.
Are they relatively easy to make, unlike the
Yes.
Levigrist? Is that what it was? No,
yeah, Leviagris or whatever we called it.
Leviacite, because it's spermacite in real life. It's Leviacite for the audiograph.
I think that they're much easier to make. It's supplies that you have around the shop already. It's not like the Leviathan wax that's a little harder to get your hands on.
So this is working on a long-term project, I think, right?
So it is. If you want to make one, it's a crafting roll essentially. You'll get 1 die for each tinker dot. You can pay 1 coin to increase the quality, and you already have a quality upgrade because of your workshop.
All right, so that's tinker, controlled, standard, and I have a bonus die from strange methods.
Yep.
And I'm going to push myself.
Okay.
God.
Wow.
That's a 4?
And a 4?
Dang.
Yeah. I'm
I have a
obsessed
5
now.
dice.
The quality level is equal to your tier. However, you do get +1 quality because of your workshop. So it's a tier 1 candle.
And what did I need, quality-wise?
This roll, basically, you don't need anything to accomplish it. The roll determines how good the thing you create is.
But, like, there's a minimum quality.
Yeah, the minimum quality will be equal to your crew's tier, which is 0.
Got it.
But because you have workshop, it's automatically tier 1.
I mean for, like, the object. Like in order to craft it, it's question 2.
Oh,
The minimum quality to build the thing at all.
yes, you are right. It is a 3, so you would have...
I need to pay...
Unless you want to pay 2 coin extra to make it happen.
I can do that.
Okay.
I can spend 2 of my 3 on successfully building my... I need a name for this. How much load does it take up?
None. It's going to be one of the free slot items. You can only hold 1 candle, though, at any time.
That makes sense. And so I have no stress, and my vice is fulfilled because Piper like meets Ojak with this list of ingredients she needs. It's like, so I have this experimental idea. It might work. I need. Do you have any eyes, Ojak?
Ojak kind of like laughs a little bit, and you know that that's his laugh, like he's uncomfortable about discussing it. Like his shop is in a shack that's built on top of an abandoned warehouse. Like he has nothing to really hide, and he's like, "No, I wouldn't have eyes." And he's like looking around, making sure that there's no cops or anything. Like
She like drops like a sack of money on the table.
He fishes out a couple jars and he's like, "What kind do you need?"
Blue, I think.
He picks up a jar and just kind of like rattles it around a couple times, and he goes, "Yeah, there's one." Opens it up and plucks it out like a pickled egg.
God, what does this candle smell like? Is the real question.
We don't have to address it now if you want to give it some thought. When it goes to burn, that'll be a question I ask.
All I know is that the whole shop is gonna smell like it for a couple days after it's made.
Yeah.
Smells like pain and regret. That's what it. No.
And I feel like I'm gonna keep doing this. So I can modify an item.
Yep.
Is Slate back from his little experience yet?
Yeah, I think it's been a couple days, like 2 days, and Slate's back now. Word has finally reached everybody that there was a crazed man in a long coat covered with wax who murdered two cardinals and a bishop during Sunday church.
Does Slate sleep, Nelson?
Well, he's not a, he's a human being.
All right, I'm gonna steal the knife. I'm gonna steal the knife he used to kill the bishop.
Which one, though?
The one he used to kill the bishop.
Well, how do you know which one that is?
The bloody one, right?
Oh yeah, I wouldn't have cleaned it or anything.
It's been a couple days. Like,
I would
he's
have
had plenty of time to clean up.
I used to sharpen my blades, but this one blade.
Good point. All right, so she approaches Slate. Which one of these are you most attached to?
Which one of what?
The knives, the blades that you kill people with.
I imagine that Slate's got like this cleaning kit out in front of him, and like a roll of leather and a bunch of knives laid out.
I go, I don't know. I don't really tend to hold on to them very long. The object is to put them in people. Sometimes you get them back. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes I think I put it back in a slot and it falls on the floor and I don't notice till it's too late.
Maybe I can change that.
That's why I have a few of them.
I have an idea.
Oh, God.
All right, so which one of these took a life most recently? I feel like that'd probably be the easiest one.
I think for a moment, like, he looks at Piper or Simon kind of quizzically, then looks at the blades kind of quizzically. He goes, I don't really know. Maybe it's that one. He just points to one random one.
She grabs it.
I go, why? Hey! I slap the shit out of the top of her hand. Hey! Only my hands touch that side. I can give it to you, but you're not like the side it comes with.
I need you to trust me. Yeah.
I mean, no, just not the tools. You don't touch a man's tools. I know you like to dress like one, but you gotta understand that you don't touch a man's tools. You get that, right? That's like going and playing around with one of Ronan's quills or something, man. Like, come on.
She pulls up a chair and sits at your eye level. Slate, I make things better. It's what I do. Let me make this better.
You make fiddly little spinny things that record voices. I don't, it doesn't need to record a voice. My tools don't need to record anything. They need to stop things. You're not stopping anything.
Let me show you what else I can do. I think I picked up some of your ghosty things. I have an idea.
Some of my ghosty things.
You like ghosts? You talk to ghosts? I have an idea.
Look! Don't talk about them like that. All right, they're people, or at least they were people. No, they're still people. I'll tell you one thing: they're more people than you because they know who they are. Yeah.
She takes the hat off. I think we both know that people can be more than one person.
No, they can pretend.
Salia isn't always Salia.
Salia is always. What are you talking about?
Salia isn't always Salia.
Do they actually know about Nyrix?
Do we? I assumed we did.
Ronan would. If Ronan has shared that information, that would be something else. Because of the interactions with Nyrix, Ronan has managed to put it together. He's a clever guy.
Unless he were deliberately questioned specifically about it, I don't think that he would just freely say it.
Wow, $99.
Okay, so probably not.
Damn. Hat's still off.
I go, besides waiting to harass me after I come back, you know, the last time we went out, you know, it's been a hard couple of days. I mean, look, you know, I sort of like started rolling up my shirt to the remnants of the burn marks and the sort of pot mark skin. I go, hey, you know, I've been dealing with this. I don't know about you. You've been waiting to harass me about my tools over here.
I'm not trying to harass you. I'm trying
making
to help
fiddly
you out.
bits. I'm like, I need a knife and a whetstone, and I'm good. I'm a simple man. You know, I like simple things. You're over here judging my friends. You abandoned me in a party. I don't know what the hell you were doing.
You can handle yourself. I'm not going to be any help in killing a ghost or a whisper. Something can do what you do.
I mean, I get it. Look. Side pipe. Look, I get it. Okay, you're not gonna be able to understand these things that you're dealing with when you can't even understand yourself. I get it. It's okay. I'll help you through it. It's fine. Just don't touch my tools. It's a very sensitive. You don't touch a guy's tools.
Don't touch it, it's sensitive.
Shut up.
If it helps the conversation any, Simon, you do have knives of your own.
I can't listen to you.
It's not the same. You prefer knives?
Do I prefer knives? What do you mean? Do I prefer
If
knives?
you had a choice between knives and something else, would you use knives?
Well, what's the something else?
I don't know, a sword,
I don't know. I made what you call prodigious use of some. He kind of like leans back. He's in the secret shop, so there's no one there, but he looks around as if there are, you know, make sure it's clear.
Yep.
I'd say it's a prodigious use of lightning, you know, but I use what's necessary. If I used the knife, didn't get the job much done. I don't know what you gave her, but whew, oh boy,
a paralytic.
You know, you know, when you left me alone in the room, I thought I was gonna have a little fun. That wasn't fun. Okay, that was not fun. And now
you did well. There wasn't even a body.
You know, I do what needs to be done. Okay, we went in there. We had something to do. I got it done. I don't know what you did, As soon
got
as I get
information.
back, you're bothering me about my knives. I didn't even have a chance to polish them correctly yet. They don't quite have that hair-splitting edge. Well, they do. Not up to my. I have high standards. Okay, they're not up to my standards. But that's besides the point. You don't even stop by and say hi and see how I'm doing. I've been through a lot. Okay,
Been gone for a day.
Miss. I've been through a lot lately. Okay. Look, where's Ronan? Go. He's probably writing something. Why don't you bother him about his pens, huh? Make his
He
skills better.
stands up, huffs off, grabs a knife out of a block of wood, and sits down with one of the eyes.
Hey, I think that was mine too.
You'll get it back. So I can modify an item. I have the ability to modify an item.
Yep.
And it says an arcane modification requires tier +3 quality. I want to make a knife that he can use with a tune.
So he can do a tuning for melee combat?
Yeah, I want to curse this knife so he can use it I want to make a ghost knife.
Okay. I think this is more involved than a 1 clock project. Actually, we'll do a 12-segment clock
Whoa, okay.
instead of an 8-segment long-term project.
All I know is I don't have to invent a special formula or plan. Make a crafting roll to modify an item. The baseline quality of an item that you modify is equal to your crew's tier as usual.
Okay. And it has to be, to modify it to make it a magic item,
It's tier +3.
tier +3. So it is a tier 0 knife currently.
Yep.
I think we're going to pull from other games. I think he needs a fine knife to begin with. So I think your first step is to make this knife into a fine knife. So how about instead of this, we'll do a 8-segment clock, or to turn this knife to a fine knife, or you could do an acquire asset to just get a brand new fine knife.
No, I'm dedicated to this now. I'm going to make this knife good.
Okay.
I'm going to make him regret not lending me one of his knives.
Okay, so that's going to be a long-term project to turn it into a fine quality weapon.
Yeah.
And then once that's done, we'll do the craft check, and you'll have to beat the current tier of tier 1 by 3 to make it effectively a 4.
Okay. So I assume I'm tinkering on this for now?
Yeah, tinker would be the most applicable thing.
No bonus dice. So that's 2 segments?
Yep. And we can call that a fine knife for the clock.
Oops. Cool. And then I will...
Do you want to spend coin to make that better?
Nah.
Okay.
I'll work on it for now. So she's just at her workstation, sharpening this knife. She cuts herself a couple times.
I think you've disassembled it, and the tang is separated from the handle pieces, and you're you're doing little things just fine-tuning the blade first.
Because this is Piper. This isn't... I'm just going to sharpen... No. This is going to be the best knife. And I'm going to put a gear on it somewhere out of spite. And then, God, where's the actions? I have a thing. I need to do for Talker.
Okay.
I don't know what that is. I don't know the thing I'm supposed to do for Talker. I don't know if I'm supposed to kill this guy or if I'm supposed to kidnap this guy.
Yeah,
So I think
that
I'm
is
going to
true.
meet this guy. I think it's time to meet Agni.
Okay.
I
So
don't know what kind of action that'd be.
there's no real action to kind of meet him. Do you
I
want to
guess
like
let's
meet him
gather
and
information.
conversate with him, or do you want to like just kind of gather information on who Agni is?
I think that's a good start. That's where Piper would start on this. That's where Simon would start on this.
Okay.
Is if I'm going to meet someone, I'm going to find out about him first.
Okay. So we'll do the gather information action, which you basically pick a skill, and then how well you do determines how many questions you can ask, and there's a couple examples on your character sheet underneath gather information.
He moves in the same circles, right?
You're not sure. Like you understood that he was a part of the university, but you weren't really sure exactly what or in what capacity.
I think I'm going to go to Jewel for this. See if he knows the guy.
Okay. That is the blood
See
dealer.
what he knows. Yeah, that is my one-legged, wheelchair-bound blood dealer friend.
Let me make a random fortune roll. I'm going to use your character sheet because I happen to have it here. Jewel is a tier 2 person. Okay. You mentioned Agni and Jewel kind of wheels around the corner from his from behind the desk, and it's a her or a he. I can't remember. I think it's a he.
Jewel's he.
Yeah.
Jewel's male.
Yeah.
He worked on a Leviathan hunter
Yeah,
ship.
that's right. He wheels behind or out from behind his desk, and at the mention of Agni, and he says, Agni. There's a name I haven't heard in a while. When last I saw him, he was serving on board the Devil's Song. It's a ship hand, but from what I understand, he's become a captain. Or at least he was, until his last trip out. Half his crew were decimated by Leviathan, and he received the esteemed position of being a counselor at the university after that. He's there to help guide some of the younger officers into the programs that they need to become captains, but his record has been stripped clean of the incident. If you listen to the rumors, they say that Agni may be involved with some esoteric things that haunt him about that Leviathan trip.
Interesting. Thank you. Have you heard any... Has there been any hubbub about me or my associates?
You mean the police asking questions about a long-coated individual with wax falling from it? Yes, there has been a few questions.
I trust that none of that information will come from you.
You have nothing to worry about from me. Right now the cops are just doing lip service for the church. If you keep out of their way, they should leave you alone for the most part.
Well, could be worse than make a name for ourselves. Just wish it weren't for something so brazen.
I heard the term ambitious. But he kind of chuckles to himself. Well, if you're looking for work, I may have something lined up for you as well. I found out recently that one of the gangs has been smuggling spirits and spirit bottles into the city. If you're interested, I need that problem cleared up.
Does this have anything to do with the scavengers?
Yeah. I've been handling the spirit trafficking business and the blood dealing in this city for quite some time. I don't like when people step on my toes. And really, if the foghounds continue the way they are, someone's going to eradicate them for me. And I figured I'd let my friends do it. For a hefty reward, of course.
Those are words. Those are words, Jewel. How about numbers?
Foghounds are a small crew, much like yourselves. They've made some allies, though, that you need to be aware of. They're friends with the Dockers and the Lampblacks. But if you strike out at them, you can probably catch them as they cross the barrier. To bury them, let me just double check their tier. I think they're tier 1. Foghounds, tier 1, weak hold. Yeah, he says to bury him it won't take much. I'll give you, he kind of fiddles with an abacus and he says, I'd give you 6 coin if you were anybody else, but you're a friend and you'd be doing me a favor, so I'd be willing to give you 8.
You want them underwater or under paperwork?
I don't care how it's done, so long as they're out of my business. If you can stop them from doing any business, it will teach anybody else who gets wise enough to get themselves a gondola and a Faraday cage to not step in my business.
Shouldn't be too hard to toss them to the dogs. I'll bring it up to the king. If I can get the boys on it, we'll.
Does he know you as Simon or Piper?
He knows me as Simon.
Okay. And Simon, there's been a lot of Death Seeker crows in the city. You may want to avoid that with any luck.
That's what I always want.
Too much more of that, and the Bluecoats really will become interested in everyone's business. Lucky enough for me, I work on the other side of town. And he kind of wheels himself back around to his desk.
Keep yourself out of trouble.
You know as well as I do that that's not possible. But I know how to handle myself. And with that, I think the scene that's pertinent will kind of fade out.
Yeah.
If you wanted to like stay there and kind of smooze with Jewel, that's fine. But I think the rest of the context isn't really needed for the game at the moment.
Makes sense.
That is our game. However, I want to do our XP stuff now so that we can jump right into stuff for next time. I happen to have Simon open right now, so we're going to start with Simon.
Ooh.
Address a challenge with technical skill or mayhem today. I think technical skill showed its face today. Really kind of pushing to get more out of the tech that you guys have available to you. I would venture to say
am
that's
a tinker.
worth 1. Anybody think it's worth more?
I'll take it.
I think the candle's pretty real. I don't know about a gear
Yeah, I was
on
gonna say,
a blade, but Candle,
I'm just gonna hot glue a gear onto the blade out of spite.
It's absolutely useless. It doesn't even move. It's just glued on there.
Like fiddly bits my ass.
Between like the making the candle and kind of working on the knife in a couple different ways, I could see what work being too, just across building multiple projects off of the different work.
Yeah, I would say two.
That
Two
is
involved in the church, because that's definitely mayhem. You guys just haven't seen the repercussions of it yet.
oh.
Express your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background. I think that we saw some beliefs of Piper's come up. Not only the conversation between Slate and Piper, but I think the conversation with Jewel kind of revealed some things about what Piper's limitations are. That Piper seems to be more open to murder nowadays.
She really doesn't want to, but it's the only thing that's
acceptable option, though.
The only thing that people are paying her to do.
I was gonna say, so guys, when are we switching our crew to assassins? Because that seems to be our focus these days.
Hey guys, we could just sabotage and frame the Foghounds. It's fine.
I mean, you've dealt with Jewel in the past. That would be Jewel's preferred method. Like, that's why Jewel specifically said at the end, there's been a lot of Death Seeker crows lately. We should probably not do that again.
Is that one or two? Oh, wait. Also, Simon who?
Yep. That is true.
Yeah.
So two.
Sweet.
And struggled with your vice or traumas during the session. I don't think you've struggled with it yet, but I can see the knife becoming an obsessive problem in the future.
Tunnel vision, man. I know how it feels.
Well, actually, it could be a problem right now, but this is a question for Slate. Piper basically taking the knife from you and being like, nope, I'm going to show you, and snatching one of your blades, has that changed your relationship?
Well, she didn't take one of mine. She took one that was just in a thing, and Slate, being the kind of asshole he is, was like, I think that's one of mine too.
But I mean, has it really changed your dynamic? Do you begrudge for taking your knife kind of thing at this point?
I think Piper has been begrudged before that. Just the both of them sort of leaving him alone to deal with what happened.
Okay. I would say that's probably worth one then, because your vice issues got you in trouble with Slade at this point. So next up would be, let's go with Slate. Addressing a challenge with knowledge or arcane power. Yes. And yes again. I think that's fair, considering all of the shenanigans that went on with the church and what led to the church being a problem.
Yeah.
I think that was two. I think the conversation with Red and Nyrix and the dedication to actually stick with carrying out basically 3 blatant murders after church in front of the congregation in the middle of the day speaks a lot towards your beliefs.
Fair enough.
So wait, that's 2 for the beliefs and 1 for the arcane power, right?
I was gonna go 2 for arcane power and 1 for belief.
Oh, okay. Same difference.
Yeah. And then struggle from issues with vice or trauma during the session.
My obligation to Nyrix is my vice.
That obligation.
That would be at least 1.
Like he literally got us wanted just so he could
Yeah.
fulfill his obligation, like, and brought the heat
So-
down on everyone for his own gain.
So that becomes a question of his beliefs. He believes that his dedication to Nyrix, a woman that more or less died because of him, is more important than the game. And it's really definitively been shown in the fiction. So I think your beliefs actually got you another one. So that would be 2 for belief, 2 for arcane, and 1 for vice obligation, or vice trauma, rather.
All right, cool.
For a total of 5. And then Ronan, challenge with calculation or conspiracy. Yes, I would say that getting all the information you did over the demon, Fainok, would probably fall under that category. While it's not necessarily like calculation in the purest of sense, you found out a lot of things that you can use to your advantage, and you got some information about a conspiracy that's happening around town. It's much bigger than you guys originally thought it to be. I would say that that's probably 2 points, because the revelation of the god was pretty big. What do you guys think?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Express beliefs, drives, heritage, or background. I think that really came up when we got to the Kingsist theory on social class structure.
Definitely.
Yeah, not to mention that the time that he was writing that was like while one of his gang members was mortally wounded and trying to get healed, and he just like ignored that entirely
Yeah.
to write his own grand theory about how awesome he thinks he is. Like,
I think that was at least one. Anybody else want to touch on something else that might have stood out?
Yeah. No, I think
Okay.
like
Issue.
that self obsession is quite enough.
Yeah, I think that falls.
Say,
Issues from
I need to
Vice or
get a bunch of
traumas.
stress so I can take a trauma of obsessed, but just with me.
Self-obsession.
Struggling with issues from your vice or trauma. I think that's one as well. I think the beliefs came up with like the actual theory of the publication, but struggling with the vice was ignoring your friend who really should have been taken to a regular doctor instead of him going off and finding ghosts to play with.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if the argument with the publisher is going to have any sort of complications. It hasn't yet, but
Yeah.
that was also kind of a point.
You didn't.
Slate's friends are ghost terrorists.
You didn't overindulge whenever you guys go to do your
Yeah.
traumas. I like to set it up so that if you do overindulge, it makes sense. But if you don't, it's like you're always like skirting the line, like you're playing a dangerous game. So I think that's
I see.
why I wanted to bring up the publisher thing.
Okay, yeah.
Look at
with
this
that.
guy. First, he started with his judgment in game, and now that we're doing he's calling them terrorists and stuff.
They're
This is
ghost
just not right.
terrorists.
I think the best thing to happen to Ronan is have him burn his publisher, and he has to go find a new publisher that will deal with his self-obsession.
I can't wait. It's gonna be like all of our excess coin is just gonna get just blown immediately. All his money, everyone's money is just like, nope, we're making this happen. I'll publish it myself with all of our excess money that I'm stealing from everyone.
Oh,
That actually could be a way that you could go. Is like, if you don't have a vice dealer, we could say that it costs you X amount of coin to publish your stuff yourself, and maybe do that for a little while. We'll see how it
that'd be
goes.
hilarious.
I'll just be my own vice purveyor at a very steep cost.
Oh my
Jeez.
I wouldn't let clear stress, but I'd be like, well, if you really want to push it because you're obsessed, yeah, you could spend 2 coin to publish this yourself.
We'll wait until I get a
vice
couple
purveyor.
traumas under my belt before we go that far, but it's not off the table.
All right. So with that said, that was a quick 3 hours. Actually, we didn't even take a break this time. I had a lot of fun with it. I'm glad that we were back again.
We have a crew.
We should, in theory, go back to every other week. I've got a new person in the position that I had somebody for before that ran into problems. So we'll see how that works out. As long as it does, Wednesday nights become much more horrible for me. For all my players and viewers and everybody that has kind of come along as this project's moved forward. Thanks for tuning in. And as always, we'll see you at the gaming table.
We have to do crew XP.
Oh, shoot, crew XP, yes. Let's do that.
Oh.
Also rep.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't do rep before, did I, for the last one?
No.
Oh, well, 'cause the mission wasn't done, so I couldn't have done rep.
Yeah. We're in the middle of...
So, let's see here.
Yeah, I'm torn to which special ability to take. There's one that I kind of want because it's kind of where my character is going. And there's one I want just to be able to fuck with Nyrix. Like, I have no idea what I want to use it for. Other than to fuck with Nygris.
Loaded phrasing.
Jeez. Look at this guy. So judgmental. Every turn. Every turn.
Okay, for rep, you guys gained... It's 2 plus 1 for each tier above you. That's 5 rep. So 2, 4, 5 rep. Oops.
That's
I'm going
turf.
on the wrong thing. That's turf. So 3, which means you've gone up a rep. Your hold actually dropped down to weak after the assault. So now that your rep is filled, your hold will go back to strong. And you have 2 spillover. That was when Ulf attacked.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And...
So how does that articulate in fiction?
I think how it articulates in fiction is the loss of the veil, which was kind of your main area to information broke and get assignments and things like that, was destroyed. But what ended up happening was I think the town, because you guys have done a lot of stuff for your local area before the game even started, that we already established that like the general area knows kind of relatively about you guys and has a positive view about you. I think they kind of helped you rebuild, and the Veil is back into working order, kind of built on the ashes of the old Veil. It's not perfect, but it's back in working order.
Could I ask a question for the of the crew?
Sure.
What do you guys think of using some of our crew coin to get the Veil back in better working order?
I'm down for that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good for that.
So it's a question of how much better you want the Veil to be. I would say that it's probably like 1 to 3 coins would be fairly reasonable. Like anything more than that, it becomes like, who the hell are these guys and why are they spending so much money?
Yeah, just what do you think is good for just enough money to be like? Because you know how the barback ran to the candle shop and let us know what was up. Like, you know what? You came to us, you let us know what was up, and we appreciate that. And you know, like hit them off with something nice, but not too attention grabbing.
Like I said, 1 to 3 coins would be in that area. It depends on how much you guys want to spend.
If we spend 2 coin, does it at least seem like it's almost exactly as it was?
Yeah, if you do
personally,
2,
I'm
take
willing
it
to go
back
3.
where it was. If you do 3, it's a little better. If you do 3, the other thing that I will do is open up a chance for you to earn turf by basically going with the bartender. I'm trying to remember his name now.
Roland Valeris.
Yeah, Roland. If you go to him, he'll have like a mission for you to gain the Veil as turf.
I was up
like
to
that.
go for 3 anyway.
Not,
So.
I like that.
Not
Yeah.
turf, but the actual claim tavern,
Where is that?
which is +1 to consort and sway on site.
That's nice.
That's awesome.
That is nice.
I like that.
We have 4 coins in the vault, so I say we just bank 3 of those. Yeah.
The fun thing is, Nelson's all like, "Yeah, we've got your back." My first thought was, comes, burns down the town, burns down the tavern. 2 days later, nothing has changed. Just like the biggest slap to this guy's face.
Yeah,
Yes!
it's like
Yes!
it's like the town got together and it was like just a big fu. It's like no, you can't destroy our tavern. We're gonna build it back the way it was. No, forget that. We're gonna build it better. F you, Ulf.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll have some ramifications, and Roland will have an available mission for you guys, to where you can gain his trust, to where basically Roland will become a part of your gang, and that his tavern will become acclaimed for you guys.
He is our favorite contact.
Yeah.
At the moment.
He will still stay as a contact, and he will still operate independently. But if you guys wanted to, we could transition him into being like a cohort, and being actually part of your gang. He'll give you use of the tavern for the claim, but then if you guys want to bring him on as the gang, you could bring him on as a cohort.
Speaking of the gang, do we have a name yet?
Roland is a retired gangster too, so he's got skill. He has the type of training and stuff. If you were to give him a type, he would be considered a let me pull up the crew creation stuff, because I think they've got the gang stuff on here too.
Wouldn't he be an expert?
Yes, he is an expert.
He's like the single badass that works for you.
I apparently don't have the page here for it. I'm trying to think of what his type is, if he's adept thug. There's another one in there. I want to say he's a rook, is what I'm thinking of.
They're like the con people and the spies.
No, he's not a rook. He's like the traditional rogue type rogue. Actually, he's a thug. Never mind. I had to think about who he was in his past life for a second there.
He's a snake person.
Yeah, he's a thug.
Does the crew have a name?
No, I don't think so yet.
I don't know about a name, but depending on where the street is going with their rumors and stuff, there's been a lot of those Death Seeker crows, right? And one of the events, they were looking for nothing because there was nothing to find.
Right.
And in the other event, there was motherfuckers from the church murdered.
Yeah, there's really no hiding that. Out of everybody in your crew, if Slate gets spotted by Bluecoats, he's gonna be chased. That's just a fact at this point.
That was weird.
That was weird.
Did you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard you. Just Skype.
Yeah,
just
I saw
skip
it.
Refreshed.
Did we execute a successful espionage, sabotage, or theft operation, though?
So I gave you credit for that. Or no, I did not give you credit for that one earlier. So yes, you did. I'd say 2. There was a lot of intelligence that was gathered. Even though the meat and potatoes, the operation turned into murder this whisper.
I got some.
Well, I guess that fits for ambitious.
So this would be for pretty much the downtime stuff, because that's what most of today was.
And the conversations at the end.
Your current station. Yes, the church. Holy Christ, yes.
Oh god, tier 4 faction, the church.
That is 2 points right there.
So that puts us at clear and 2.
Okay, and bolster your crew's reputation or develop a new one. I think you've developed a new one.
We were called ambitious.
I think you're still ambitious, but you were also murderous.
I do feel like I'm taking quite a responsibility for the reputation and progress of our crew here,
All right, so
Sure.
that's 2 points for that. And then express the goals, drives, and inner conflict or essential nature of the crew. Yeah, I think we're at an interesting point where the crew has never been super tight, but I can see that the crew is kind of like becoming more of an association than necessarily like a tight-knit crew at the moment. And I think that that's really telling of like the inner conflict between each person, because each person has strong goals that they're trying to get to, so much so that they're kind of discounting the others.
We're all kind of somehow. Usually, there's only 2 when you're talking about a polar opposite, but there's 3 polar opposites in this group.
Yeah.
Like everybody is so vastly different.
So,
Like we just somehow managed to keep it together for like 2 hours at a time to make it halfway through the mission, blow apart, but still somehow make it through, and then just like go our separate ways for a couple of days before meeting back up. Like it's really weird.
okay, so
We're the people from Baby Driver.
I think there's that, and then there was some good moments where Slate was kind of putting it on the line about how, like, what the fuck, guys? You guys just left me in that room bleeding. Where was my cover? So I'd say that's probably 2, unless you guys want to argue for less. Just saying.
So we crew advanced.
Yep. You guys did receive a crew advance, which would be special ability, or you could take 2 things from the crew upgrades.
We've been taking some crew up some of the training stuff lately, so I think we might.
You have 1 training left. The
Resolve,
other
yeah.
thing that you eventually should buy into, because you guys are getting close to it, is Mastery. You guys cannot go to 4 dots in anything until Mastery's been unlocked.
We're pretty deep, but we're not pretty wide yet.
Yeah, I was going to say, you guys have pretty much all like focused hard into your specialty, but you don't have a lot of extra stuff right now, so it might be better to go for something besides Mastery.
I think my personal thing, again, because like you said, we're pretty deep, but we're not wide, is to get Resolve and then tick off a one of those vaults, because we're getting pretty big paydays.
Yeah,
That makes sense. The other
That's
thing
fair,
that caught my
actually.
eye was thief rigging, because 2 free load of tools or gear can be really useful when it's useful.
Yeah, like at the party, if you guys had gotten that situation, like needing to break into stuff, the thieves rigging would have helped.
Well, if we're gonna go with an ability, I think Ghost Echoes seems to be where this crew is going. You know, since everyone is getting a little bit more into the occult.
I kind of see
weird-
that actually, yeah. Like
All crew
Ronan
members-
started developing into some demon pact stuff or whatever the ghost
Oh
contract
yeah,
stuff
let's
is.
remember, Ronan can make soul pacts now.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he can make soul packs.
Simon's learning to create magic items. Slate's
I've just
always
been a
been
whisper
into the
from the
ghost
beginning,
stuff.
so-
Yeah.
You can throw lightning.
I can throw lightning. So,
What's
you
your
know,
other thing?
Second story work, I think, would also work for you guys, because while you've been surface level being assassins, as far as what the common people are concerned about, you guys are working to unravel like a huge clandestine cult problem in the city, or at least find out information to either unravel it or use it to your advantage. I'm not really sure where King's Heart is on that subject at the moment.
Yeah. So, well, what do you guys want to do? You want to go for the 2 upgrades or the 1 ability?
I kind of want Ghost Echoes,
Yeah,
guys.
I'm kind of feeling you on the ghost echoes actually.
How do you beat a cult? Become a cult.
Yeah, exactly.
You become a cult.
If we're gonna be taking down a sea demon cult, then we're gonna need some ghostly powers.
Yeah, you know. Yeah.
So from now on, from weird experience or occult ritual, all crew members I love the idea that we all have a different way of doing this. This isn't like, oh, one of us figured this out, or no, we've all stumbled into this individually. All crew members gain the ability to see and interact with the ghostly structures, streets, and objects within the echoous dusk ball that exists in the ghost field.
Definitely, I think I've already been through one of them.
The interesting part that I can think of is like when you guys decide to invest in like rooks or skulks or whatever crew or whatever, there's gonna be like this like scene where one of you is teaching them like, hey, this is how you access this crap. It's gonna be useful.
Yeah, but it's that thing where like you're starting at a new job and all of the people above you do things a little bit differently.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you're doing it wrong.
Like I could just see Slate walking around with a keychain full of ghost keys, being like, "All right, here's your key. Here's your key."
Everyone's like, I don't care whatever Slate and Simon told you about how to do this. They're all full of crap. Let me tell you the real way.
You got to talk
Here's
to the
volumes
doorkeeper.
1 through 4 on how to access the ghost field.
Slade's gonna be an asshole. You want to know about real stuff? They don't.
I imagine
they're
Slate's
dabblers.
version
They're dabblers.
is like handing out keys, but also doing like scared straight with them.
We're gonna be the worst bosses.
You gotta do what I tell you, cause lightning bolt.
Yeah.
Very persuasive.
You really get in touch with the ghost field. You got to really feel the ghost field.
Oh, that's horrifying.
All right, so yeah, we are past time, but I think we handled most things here. With that said, for everybody who's tuned in, thanks for tuning in, and as always, we'll see you at the gaming table.